Hey everyone, guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have spaced out radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your SOR swag. spacedoutradio.com, shop there today, and make yourself look good.
Hey everyone, welcome to Spaced Out Radio, the after hours radio show. So glad to have you guys here. It's going to be a freaking awesome show. We got David Altman joining us, and then also our hour 3 guy, Drew Banky, who will be joining us for the entirety of the show. Then we'll kick off for hours 1 and 2, and we'll jump into some really good stuff with a blast from the past in hour number 3. So going to be an awesome show, jam-packed. You guys are not going to want to miss this for sure. So make sure you are here and you stick around and don't go anywhere. Tell a friend too. Bring a friend in. Send a text. Share on social media real quick. Let them know we are live right now at the Spaced Out Radio After Hours Radio Show. It is going down. Let me go ahead and see what the metal positions are real quick, as we got about 2 minutes before we kick off the radio side of this thing. And looks like the gold is going to go to Race Fan tonight. Then the bronze the silver rather, is to Mothman. And the bronze apparently is Eternity Eternal. Awesome. So definitely want to thank everybody for coming in. Let me see who else is in the chat. We'll get us through as many as we can here. Like I said, we had Race Fan there. Good evening. We had Mothman. Hello, Rob and friends. We got Eternity Eternal. Hi, Rob G. Brown Dorf is in the building saying good evening. Deidre C is here. Good evening, wonderful people. Hi there, Mr. Rob G. Mothman, Race Fan, Eternity Eternal, Brown Dorf. Hey, Tom King, my guy. Tom King, I'm going to email you. I'm going to email you right after this show, Tom. So look out for my email. I got to talk to you real quick. Who else do we have? We have Road Flare. We have Melvin WD40 getting us lubed up, ready to get in the show. Love it. Who else do we have here? We have let's see, some duplicate names there. Who else do we have? Oh, Big Bird. Big Bird's in the building. Hey, Big Bird. We got J Truth Seeker. What's going on, J Truth Seeker? Appreciate you. Welcome to the show. Hey, we got Operation Shutdown is here. We got Mike Bothwell. Let's go. That's right. Let's go, Mike Bothwell. Let's get it in. We got JSCO77. Hey there. Who else do we have? Neil Attenbury. Appreciate you coming in. Got about 10 seconds left. Resonant, thank you for coming in. Algory, hey, thanks for coming on in. Sleepy House, as we get ready to jump into the radio side of this, Invisible Tracker is here for sure. Queen Peachy King D, hey, thanks for coming. And yeah, here we go. Jessica S. Okay, yeah, looks like we got about 20 seconds here, 30 seconds. Yes, Jessica S is here. Jessica S, thanks for coming on in. It's going to be an awesome show. Definitely awesome show. Can't wait to jump into it. EPL, UFOs, UAP, ETVs, and the phenomenon. Love it. 10 seconds left. Here we go. You guys get ready. Dave says, put your horns up. So I guess put your horns up, right? Let's get it in. Let's go. Greetings, space travelers. Welcome home. You just tuned your dial to Spaced Out Radio, the only place where you can own the night. I'm your host, Mr. Rob G. And tonight, we're broadcasting to you and all our terrestrial affiliates across North America and also digitally on digital platforms around the world. Remember, you can access all of our archives completely free, youtube.com/@spacedoutradio. And while you're there, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow us on X and Instagram @spacedoutradio and @spacedoutradioshow. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where the options are endless. You can stay up to date with the SOR Newswire, get some official Spaced Out swag, plus rock out to that man right there, Bumblefoot, and oh so much more. Like I said, we're going to have an awesome show tonight. We have David H. Altman. I know you've seen this, Alien Encounters, Facts of Fiction on Discovery. We're going to get to talking about that and a whole bunch of other topics relating to the phenomenon tonight. We also have our guy, Drew Banky, joining us here. So without further delay, let me go ahead and give you the introduction to our guest tonight. David Altman has worked and lived in Hollywood for over 20 years in music, film, and TV, and currently does production and development work for different networks and production companies on the topics of UFOs, the paranormal, and more. David has been involved with projects for Steven Spielberg, J.J. Abrams, and many others, and also appeared, if you remember, in Caroline Corey's A Tear in the Sky. So awesome to go ahead and get this conversation going tonight as we go ahead and bring in our guest, David Altman, and our guy, Drew Banky. Hello, fellas. How are you guys today?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you just fine, sir. Just
awesome.
Fine. And yeah, I totally appreciate you coming on in. And you know, I know Drew extended the invitation. Shout out to Drew Banky for making this connection tonight. Love it.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate it was pretty last minute. I literally I have a brand new laptop, so I had to install Chrome at like 11:58, I think. Oh my God. So just made it, man. As you can see by my killer studio here, how quick it managed to happen.
Yeah, you're looking good, and I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're involved with the TV show right now, and many others, but the one that is brand new is and actually let me bring it up here. It's the Alien Encounters, Fact of Fiction on Discovery Plus, and Max. So before we jump into that, I would like, if you could, for those who don't know who you are, if you could kind of talk about your experience with the phenomenon, kind of, what led you into even doing this? How did you get there? If you wouldn't mind starting there.
Sure. So I've kind of always been fascinated with, I grew up as a sci-fi kid. My parents got divorced when I was young, when I was about probably 7 or 8. And myself and my mom went to live with my grandparents, and my grandmother, she was the head librarian at the town library where she lived at with my grandfather. So my mom, she had to get a job of her own. So after school, I would get dropped off with my grandmother at the library, and she'd sit me down in front of, the sci-fi books. And I was immediately drawn to like the monster books, the Dracula, the Universal monsters, like the Dracula, the Frankenstein, the Wolfman, all that stuff. Yes, I do have a Boba Fett tattoo on my hand. Thanks for noticing that, Tom King. And after I read all those books, the next thing was the aliens and the Bigfoot, the Loch Ness monster, and then that just grew into another obsession, and that's kind of how I got into it, and that's been an all-time thing for me my entire life. I've just always been into that stuff. And that's kind of how the obsession began. It began when I was very young, but it didn't really, it was a sci-fi obsession. It wasn't like I was drawn to aliens. It was just a sci-fi monster thing,
Yeah, funny thing is you mentioned the going to the library and checking out those books. I today still have a book out on Dracula because I was obsessed with Dracula, and I owe them probably thousands of dollars for that book right now. So you just made me remember that. And
now you just reminded them. So
and I just reminded them. Exactly. They're going to DM me now. It's all over.
Yeah.
Well, I did want to show this real quick. We do have the trailer for this documentary series, and we want to make sure that everybody is aware of it. And if you haven't checked it out, make sure you definitely do that. So here's the teaser trailer. We're going to go ahead and run this for you guys. Kick back, and we'll be right back.
I was abducted by aliens 7 times since 1984.
Everyone has a story, and this is the town that UFOs built. I'm here to listen to firsthand accounts, consider the evidence.
Oh my God.
I see it.
At that point, I'll render a verdict.
I'm a journalist. I'm an investigator. The most important thing to me is facts.
We have a piece of material evidence.
Our whole house lit up.
I just unfortunately can't say this is a UFO.
I feel like it's some bull. I believe the data is wrong.
I wish I could just know what it was.
There's no question to me that you experienced a UFO. You never know who's going to walk through the front door in Roswell, New Mexico.
Dramaful, impactful trailer there definitely sells the show. And as for experiencers like us all out here, most of us are, it's a breath of fresh air to have a show that is showcasing this for the world. This is obviously a global phenomenon we're dealing with, and this is being presented to the world. How did you feel putting this together, and kind of what was obviously your insight into this subject probably drove you, but kind of what was the fire, what lit your fire on this?
Yeah, actually, before I forget, let me just mention September 7th, they're running a all-day 24-hour marathon on Discovery, the entire day, because it actually already aired on Discovery. They already aired all 7 episodes, so now it's airing on Max. You can watch it anytime you want on Max, but it's airing for 24 hours on September 7th. So I was the casting producer, so I found all of the, or should I say most of the people, I found most of the evidence, people with the materials, people that had encounters. I also cast Chrissy Newton, one of the hosts. So it was my job. My goal was, I didn't want to put on the same people, the same faces that we've all seen on documentaries, for the past 30 years. I wanted to talk about all new cases. I wanted to, just put a fresh spin on this stuff. We've all seen, the same repeated stuff over and over again. And I just, I wanted to just put a whole new thing together. And it was tough because, I found a lot of news evidence out there that I didn't know that was out there, but unfortunately a lot of people didn't want to be on camera. I found a lot of things that shocked me, that I was like, I begged to get on camera, but people they were afraid of family or their jobs or whatever, but some people told me, hey, maybe in the future I'll call you back, hopefully we'll get a season 2 and maybe I will get them on something in the future. There were some times where I don't know how to put it, but I was disappointed with some people that didn't have an excuse. There were people that I knew that have been in the UFO community that maybe haven't been on TV, that have been like, talking about, oh, I've had this encounter and I've got this evidence, where it was kind of like, put up or shut up, where I'm like, I gave them an opportunity. Let's test your evidence. Let's check out your medical records, where they all of a sudden they weren't answering my calls anymore. And it kind of came suspicious to me. Like, were they full of crap all this time? And I'm not the kind of guy who's going to like name names, because I'm not going to do that to them. Because maybe
we want names.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that, but
know,
because maybe they do have their reasons, but they didn't give me their reasons. So it's kind of suspicious to me, But
I was just playing around. But this after hours, we want names. But
But you'd be surprised, man, because I know for a fact that you know who they were. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this. You brought up something really important, being able to weed out the stories that aren't true and the vetting process. So are you able to speak kind of to that? I mean, you kind of alluded to that there, but what is the vetting process? Because I know and the reason why I asked, because when this came out, there were a lot there, I in conversations that I've had with other people, some people had mixed feelings about some of the people that appeared, and their feeling of if their stories were realistic or true or not. What is the vetting process, just so everyone will know?
So when the show first started, it was kind of a different animal. At first, we were going to just be telling about stories and encounters for just kind of like Close Encounters of the Third Kind or whatever, people just telling their stories. And then it changed where they wanted to actually have evidence, whether it be physical, video, or maybe medical records kind of evidence. So when that happened, I kind of called people that I knew, people that helped me out, like Tom Reed, Philip Mantle helped me out a lot. My friend Timothy Renner, people in the community kind of, I put the word out, and they put the word out. Frank Kimbler in we actually filmed in Roswell, so we actually tested some Roswell debris through Frank Kimbler. So there was a lot of people that I actually knew that were kind of homies already. You know what I'm saying? That I knew where this evidence was coming from. I knew where the chain was. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like these were complete strangers.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some that were complete strangers. So for that part, it would have been bad for them if they would have come on camera and their evidence. It would have been no loss to us, because it would have been just embarrassing for them to bring their, maybe not embarrassing, but they just would have got negative results.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would have brought their material on, and it would have come back as, you've got whatever, you've got regular friggin' metal here. You know what I'm saying? It would have been, they would have got a free trip to Roswell, but it would have just come back mundane.
So actually, okay, so kind of getting the idea then. So the premise is they bring their stories, and then their stories are technically vetted right there on air by the two hosts.
Yeah. So okay. I guess you haven't seen the show, right?
I've watched a little bit.
Yeah. So Drew's seen it, right? Drew. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So the premise of the show, they have I think 3 guests through each episode, and there's 2. There's a male and a female there, and the female has like the technical background, and she has all the tests run where the satellites, they look at satellite records, military records, and try to weed out like anything that it could be an excuse of. And they go through.
And if it's like a metal, they send it to a lab or whatever.
Yeah. So it's kind of vetting. But they do check it out beforehand, and they have like results from the testing and stuff like that that's prepared, beforehand. That there's testing or whatever, video testing. I'm sure they go through. I know they go through the videos and go through log records and things like that to make sure that the video is like legit and all that. So
Hey,
But
there's Wes Decker. He was on the show.
hey,
Oh, W. Decker was on the show. So glad
Yeah.
to know that, W. Decker. We got to go and tune in. And another face I know that was that's been shown on there is the guy who used to do the UFO report here. Everyone knows Tim Senor was shown on an episode as well.
Yeah, I was actually involved with that case. I was there when we filmed that video with Tim.
Ah, okay, yeah. I was totally. I remember when you guys were there actually.
Yeah.
Filming it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom King was a part of that as well.
Well, Tom King actually went home the day before, but Tom actually filmed something different the night before.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
We got to get you, Tom. We got to get your side of it. I'll be talking to you soon. Wes Decker, thanks for your support of Spaced Out Radio. We really do appreciate that.
Yeah, it's funny. I worked on the show, and they actually showed my face on a case that was involved on the show. So I had to sign a release to have my face shown on the show.
Wow.
It's funny, yeah.
So let me ask you this. I mean, obviously, this is one of the things that we all ask for and hope for to be able to be on a large stage like that and have experiencers tell their stories. How do you feel this show has affected the overall, feeling of disclosure? Like, do you feel the same way? Do you feel like this really is something that's helping get us to where we need to go?
I mean, I don't know. This show, I mean, the problem that we had with this show, unfortunately, it wasn't aired the same time as the Olympics, which sucks. Like, unfortunately, that really hurt the ratings.
I bet.
You couldn't get a worse time spot than with the Olympics. Hopefully it's, with it, when it started airing on Max, it was in the top 10 for a little while. I'm hoping that the marathon and when it airs on Discovery Plus, maybe it'll get better. But when you're up against the Olympics, it's not a great thing. So I don't know what our ratings are yet, but I'll find out soon enough.
I mean, when you have a stamp like Discovery and then Max, I mean, these are credible, networks, and
right.
And even if they, my whole thing is just like with the Lou Elizondo stuff that's happening right now, which we can talk about a little later. I don't necessarily feel like it needs to be seen in the moment that it's live or that it first airs. As long as it's there for perpetuity, then once these people start waking up, they can go back to this, and it's already done its work at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the materials, that were found, like the Roswell stuff, the Roswell material, and the UFO bros, I mean, they found the biggest piece of pure aluminum from the Needles crash that I've ever heard of. I mean, they found the biggest piece of metamaterial ever that was tested, and I mean, it's huge. It's huge. I don't know. That kind of flew by everybody. The fact that nobody's talking about that blows my mind.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to binge watch it now. I'm gonna have to because I caught little tidbits, and it just came out a month or so ago, maybe 2 months, if that. So it's brand new. So I don't know how many people out there have been able to catch it, but this is definitely us telling you to go out and do that, and I'll be doing that this weekend. But I just love the fact that this is being talked about on a large stage, and I think if we could get more content out there to the Discoveries and the Maxes and Netflix and all these networks that will get behind these sort of projects, I think that'll help us kind of move the needle towards where we need to go. Have you had any experiences yourself? Like, would you be able to feature on the show yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I did see something when we were filming A Tear in the Sky, which is kind of obvious when you see me freak out during the movie when I'm like, oh my God. And then when we got back, I had a sighting with my mom. It's actually on my YouTube channel. And I was able to film that. I saw an orb that was in my backyard, and I filmed it disappearing, and it actually came back. And when it came back, my mom was able to see it, and I wasn't for like 2 minutes. and then I was able to see it, which is kind of common. There'll be a sighting where there'll be a group of people, and maybe 4 people will see it, and 2 people won't, which is really weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm filming it. It disappeared, and it came back, and my mom could see it, and I couldn't for like a minute, and then I was able to see it, which was really weird.
Dude, let's look at it. Let's watch it.
Yeah, it's on my YouTube channel. It's here. Want me to send it to you directly?
Yeah,
I kind of curse in it. Not like an F-bomb, it's just an S word.
So put that in the private chat, and then I can bring it up. We're running up on a break here in about 3 minutes.
I can send it to you on Facebook because I have to go through. All right,
yeah, I can bring it up there as well. And we'll do that right after the break. So while we're kind of waiting on that, so with that being said, so you're involved in this. You worked with Steven Spielberg. What type of stuff did you do with him?
I was involved with the show Encounters.
Okay.
The Netflix series?
Yes, I believe I've definitely seen that.
Nice.
Let's see here. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, great. So I'll bring that up. And while I'm doing that, Drew, you want to step in for a second? We got like 2 minutes before we go to break here.
Yeah, what's it looking like on season 2? I mean, you guys, is it 50-50 shot right now?
I'm praying, man. I'm praying for a season 2. I don't know yet. I've already started collecting, some evidence, just getting prepared,
Yeah,
Yeah,
just so you know. Go ahead, Drew.
Go ahead. Me and Grant's been talking. Me and Grant Cameron's been talking about doing a project next year.
Is Grant back on UFOs?
What's that?
Is Grant back on UFOs?
Yeah, well, we're gonna do something with involving psychedelics and experiencers, and doing before and after interviews after maybe a psilocybin or a ketamine treatment, and see what the difference is between the viewpoint of the situation. So I wanted
you should talk to Paul Hynek.
Yeah, Paul Hynek could be involved. I know Paul, but it's next May he's going to be coming down, and we're trying to plan it around him coming down then. But I'll get with you more on that. But what part of this phenomenon do you think is the consciousness part? And that's a big question, and we can delve more into it later. But
what do you mean? What part?
The whole UFO field, the phenomenon of UFOs. How much is it involves consciousness?
That's a question that I can't answer. I mean, it could be all, it could be a percentage. I mean, it could be none. I mean, we just don't know. That's an unanswerable question.
Yeah, I mean I mean, I can see what you mean by that. And I guess what it is, do you have any of these guests that have come on? Because I haven't seen the full season, right? So are there any consciousness elements that are put on, that are brought forward in any of these interviews?
So I can say yes, because there is one case that comes on that one witness said that he saw his dead father during an abduction.
Wow.
And to me, that is a yes, because there seems to be some type of life after death type of scenario going on with the whole abduction thing. There's some type of...
Hold it right there, David. We're going to go ahead and finish this thought right after this break. So you guys don't go anywhere right here, Spaced Out Radio, with our guest, David Altman, and the guy right there, Drew Banke, up in the shack doing the thing right here. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this break. Okay, we are clear. So this is about a 5-minute break. So if you needed to do anything this would be the time. We'll take a video break at the top of the hour. We'll be off camera. Right now, the YouTube audience can still see you and hear you. And I'm going to take a second. I'm going to take this moment actually to do a little promoting real quick. You guys come and check out my channel, right? If you love what we do right here at the After Hours, you love what we do on Spaced Out Radio, I would love to see you guys come on over to the Social Dig. You may not even known that I had a channel over there, right? Awesome videos, a lot of awesome content. We definitely tackle a lot of the tough subjects, a lot of tough conversations over there in the Social Dig. So if you love what we're doing here at the After Hours, please make sure you go over there at youtube.com/@MrRobG. Please, when you get over there, please consider hitting a like and potentially even subscribing. We would love to have you. Also we have my experience with the phenomenon, which is another show that we have over there where I have guests just like yourself, viewers, people from the audience come on the show, discuss their experience with the phenomena, and we kind of talk about it and hash it out. So 2 awesome shows over there. Make sure you guys come on over and hit the like and subscribe. I would appreciate that. Thank you, Brown Dwarf. Appreciate you. And also, new people in here. I did see some people here come in. Cosby Joe Chronicles. Let's real quick. I know you're joking, but he was like, thanks for acknowledging me. Rob didn't. So I'm doing it now. Cosmic Joe Chronicles, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate you showing up and supporting us like you always do. You're an awesome guy, and we couldn't do the show without you. So I'm glad that you came through and you showed up here. And then once again, shout out to Wes Decker for the first super chat of the night. Super chat is a way that you can help support the show here at Spaced Out Radio. We appreciate anything that you can do anytime. Also, welcome to the show who came through with the super sticker, Major Lee. We do appreciate you always showing love for Spaced Out Radio. And that's where we're at. So a couple minutes left here, about 3 minutes till we come back from break. And so what did you do today, Dave? I saw you had a headache or migraine or something.
Yeah, I've got a headache going on, man.
Bad stuff, man. I hate
What's
it.
up, Tim? Timotho man. Timotho man. Yeah, I get migraines, man. It's not a migraine because I'm obviously here. If it was a migraine, I wouldn't be.
You'd be out, yeah. No, I get occasional
I get like sinus
when
headaches.
I wake up. Yeah, it's usually from sleep. As soon as I wake up and I got this crazy headache, then I have to take some ibuprofen. Usually takes care of it. I can't take anything else. Aspirin, I can't do any of that.
Yeah, I take for my headaches. It's topramate.
Oh wow, okay. Is that over the counter?
No, it's prescribed for headaches.
Yeah. Brown door headaches suck.
But it kills my stomach, you know?
Yeah, the lining.
And
that's what ibuprofen does too.
Yeah.
Deidre C, thanks for the amazing content on the Social Dig. No problem at all. Like I said, we do some good stuff here. We do great interviews here on Spaced Out Radio, but we have really tough, deep conversations over at the Social Dig. Some that kind of,
it's pretty ironic that it's the first time I've been on here and it's not with Dave. And I've
really?
Dave has asked me for so many guests. He's never asked me to be on the show. And it's the first time I've been on this show and it's not with Dave. That's kind of like why I was like, sure, I'll do it, just because it wasn't Dave.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to be the guy to bring you through.
It's funny.
The peacemaker, the bridge maker. I'm glad to be that guy to kind of bring everyone together. And that's what I do. Anyways, that's the kind of guy I am. So glad I could facilitate it. And I just knew we'd have an awesome conversation, and we have yet to jump into a bunch of stuff here.
So I have a Bigfoot thing I could tell. I don't know if I should tell it or not because I've told it on 2 shows that have been recorded but haven't been released yet.
Okay, we can do that. We can jump into all that. You're into paranormal and stuff too, right? Now some stuff.
Oh, man.
Minds. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, we could definitely do that. All right, we got about
jump down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's just so much. It's the phenomena, And I've experienced a lot, and I have some theories, and I can actually bring that theory out tonight.
No, but my Bigfoot story, you'll flip out.
Okay, then we're gonna start off with that. That's what we're gonna do. Let's see here.
We should watch this video.
Yeah. Watch the video.
Yeah. I got the
We'll
video.
save it's a long story, so we can save it for later.
I got the video queued actually right here. Let me remove this here. All right, here we go. All right, everybody, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio. We're on the back end of the first hour as we come back with our guest here, David Altman. And you know, we were talking about the show Alien Encounters Fact or Fiction, and Dave said he had a video for us to watch, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. But you guys out there, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, or X and Instagram, at Spaced Out Radio, at Spaced Out Radio Show. And Space Travelers, think about joining the Space Travelers Club for as little as $5 per month by joining our Patreon. We appreciate it as we're back. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the video. I do have it sitting here, and let me actually share it with.
Let me
set it up. Yeah, go ahead.
So first of all, this is my mom's house in Florida, and her house is like 10 minutes from Cape Canaveral. Okay, so you can see the object right there. So when I go out back to walk the dog, I always look. I know exactly what should be there and what shouldn't be there. I know that's not supposed to be there. Okay, so right away I walk back out there. I see it. So I go back in the house. I'm like, Mom, you got to come out. You got to look. She goes, if it's aliens, I'm not going out there. And I'm like, no, you got to come look. So now you can start it.
Exactly.
Now we're out there.
And it's just light, right?
Yeah. And I'll tell you after I finish it.
What the hell that is.
Whoa.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
Oh.
I filmed it. Now, the reason I'm getting excited is I've seen lights like that before, and I've sat there and sat there and sat there, and I've never caught one leave before, ever. That's why I'm freaking out like that right there.
Yikes.
So there's another video. It's part 2, and that's where it comes back, and I couldn't see it.
Okay, nope.
I can send it to you. It's not that big of a deal. The second one. That's the kind of the cool one right there, where it just disappears.
So, and here's what, and let me hit the like on that. You know it's real when you get the cussing and stuff. So you know that just lets you
because
know.
I've sat there for like 45 minutes before, and I'm like sitting there, and then I'll go in the house, I'll come back and it'll be gone. You know, I'm like, I missed it. I finally caught one that left.
Yeah, that is awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And I have some stuff too. And maybe I'll submit it for your season 2 of Alien Encounters. Yeah, I'm hoping you guys come back for sure. Because we need it. We need this stuff in the space, right? And I guess the way that happens is getting the support of the audience members and things of that nature. So you guys make sure you guys go over there and watch the series for sure. Yeah, Jay Truth Seeker says, now we'll have to bleep out the cuss words. That's why I only played it once, because I'll have to go back and edit that. That's okay, though. That's okay. It's about the experience, and you guys got to kind of feel the you kind of have to hear the cuss word to be like, oh, this guy wasn't, he was really in shock about what it was that he saw. Okay. So
and then I called my buddy. He's the head of security for the launch pad over there at Cape Canaveral, and I called him. I sent him the video. He's like, Dave, I don't know what that was. He's like, I have no idea. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: so the Alien Encounters, do you find that well, I guess with the season 1, you said it's about 7 episodes. With the people that came through, was it mainly craft experiences, or were there like paranormal elements to any of the stories that they came through?
I really, really pushed for high strangeness because that would have opened us up to more evidence. We could have gotten, cryptid videos, cryptid evidence, stuff like that. But, they really just wanted UFO alien stuff. I tried to explain to them, that there are, cryptid Bigfoot sightings that go along with UFO encounters, stuff like that. But they weren't open to it. They weren't open to it. If we do get a season 2, I'm really going to try and push it harder.
And here's my explanation for that, because I kind of understand that aspect, because I've always said that, like, if you were to go speak to someone who was totally unaware and had no experience with the phenomenon, you kind of wanted to bring them in and let them know. I don't think that you would hit them with everything, like just like if you go on a date with your lady or a guy, whatever, and you never show your weird side, right? Initially, you kind of just show a little bit, you give them a little bit, then you get the weird stuff a little later. And so I kind of think that approach is the best approach when you're
yes and no, but this is Discovery Channel. They've heard it before. Come on.
Yeah, but I think, when you're on a big stage like that, you have the opportunity to, the goal is
you're talking about, I get what you're saying. You're not talking about Discovery, you're talking about the audience.
Yeah, because
right.
Like, I was know the story.
I was developing a show with Diana Pasulka, and it was Are Aliens Demons? And that got shut down pretty quick.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But yeah.
I mean, it's something that is too deep. And there are some shows on Discovery right now and other networks that take you all the way in and give you all the weird. And I think that scares some of those people away.
Yeah, they were like, they're not ready to hear this.
Yeah, exactly. So you bring them in lightly. Okay, there's craft. There's maybe things inside these craft. Okay, these things actually might land and get out. Oh, and by the way, they use telepathy. And then, oh, by the way, they might be related to Bigfoot and other cryptids. And then you kind of bring them and peel the onion back. I think that's the easiest way to get them in, because when you hit them with the weird at first, they just turn right around and say, okay, I'm not buying any of this, and I don't even want to listen. And you kind of lose them. So I think that might be the best approach with that show. So hopefully you get your wishes.
That's the same thing as people that research Bigfoot, that they don't want to talk about Bigfoot flesh disappearing in a ball of light. They don't want to hear that stuff. They leave that stuff out of those reports. They want it to be a relic hominid. It's an ape. It's not anything else.
Yeah, and so I guess segue and go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, I'll jump in here real quick. I heard I just seen a clip of Bashar, just a recent clip where he was talking about Bigfoot and Anunnaki. He said that human being, we're crossed with Anunnaki, and if Anunnaki wouldn't have been here and stepped in, we would have been Bigfoot. That was the original path of our evolution.
Okay,
so we're like hybrids, but I was just sharing something from Bashar.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
That
I mean, who knows, man? I mean, if there even is a Bigfoot, I mean, I don't know.
I've experienced Bigfoot, and so I have a lot of native.
I have an open mind, man. I have an open mind. I do this for a living, but it's possible. I mean, I'm on the fence about all this stuff, even the stuff I've seen with my own eyes. I don't know what I've seen. You know what I mean?
Sure. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah,
and that's the best approach. Open-minded.
So, on the topic of Bigfoot, I believe that I have found the original Patterson film. The one that was in the film that was in the original camera that Patterson filmed the Patty film with. So I'll tell you the story. A couple of years ago, I was, and I'm going to leave out a lot of names in the story because I don't want people being harassed about this and all that stuff. And I'm going to start this off by saying, like I just mentioned, I don't know if there is a Bigfoot. I don't know if there are aliens. I don't know. But like I said, I have an open mind. I don't know if the story's true. I don't know if anything I'm about to tell you is true. This is all what I've learned during this investigation that we were doing.
Mhm.
So a few years ago, I was listening to an interview of this gentleman, and he was talking about he was working on a documentary, and what happened was, okay, I can mention two names. One of them is somebody you've all heard of, and it's Bruce Maccabee, right?
Oh, yes, yes.
So Bruce Maccabee, who just recently passed away, his wife is Jan Maccabee. Okay. Bruce had a friend who was dying of cancer and had owed Bruce some money. And Bruce was getting married. So he wanted to give Bruce a wedding gift. And this was years and years ago. And Jan was a big fan of Bigfoot. She loved Bigfoot. So he gave Bruce a film can with a note on it. Bruce didn't even think about it, put it aside. And that was the last of that. So years later, Jan is up in the attic and she finds this can, and she goes downstairs and she's like, Bruce, what is this? She says, I don't know. And they put it up on, it was a 16 millimeter film, and they put it on the projector. And sure enough, it's the Patty film. And it's like the clearest thing they've ever seen. And they watch it all the way through, and they get to the end, and Jan's looking at it. She goes, oh my God, what is that at the end? And he's like, what? She goes, that's a juvenile. At the end of the Patty film, she sees a juvenile that nobody's ever seen before.
Oh, okay. So in addition to the original subject,
there's a smaller Bigfoot in this film that they have. It's the Patty film, clearest copy ever anybody's ever seen. Right. So I'm like, what? So I start asking around, and I find out that not only that, but there's allegedly more to this story. So what I learned was I found this woman who grew up with the Pattersons, and she told me the story of how this film got in this guy's possession. And this all has to do with more money and alcohol, of course. So the guy who gave Bruce the film was friends and worked with Patterson, and they were playing poker, and they were drunk, and the guy beat Patterson at cards, and Patterson owed the guy money, and he ended up losing the film to this guy. And the guy cut a certain part of the film or something out and gave the copy to Patterson. So Patterson never had this version of the film. He gave it to this guy. I'm trying not to mention names, so I'm trying to be really careful. And that's how Patterson never had this version, this clearer version of this film. And from what I learned, from what I heard, and actually I can send this to you too. I don't know if you want to show it. It's like 3 minutes. This wasn't a photo hunt. This was a hunt to kill these things. There's a film that you can find. It's on YouTube. And it's the second. This was a 3-day film. There's a 3-day filming. The first day or the second day, and I'll send it to you. It was like a massacre. They went through and they killed them all. and there's a film of the three of the guys, and they're walking the dog through the field, and you can see like a bloody puddle and bloody dog prints, and allegedly there's like a bloody puddle with the skins in there. And the woman said to me, there's 2 films in the world that show the dog killing the juvenile, and she goes, I have one. She said, I have one of them.
Crazy,
right?
That is.
Now we're getting into it.
And I said to her, I didn't say to her, can I see it? I said, can I call? This was on a Friday. I said, can I call you back on Monday with my production partner so you could tell him the story? She said, yeah, sure. For 2 weeks, I've been calling her back, and it's been going to voicemail. Nothing. I'm not saying it's because of me. It's just weird that I can't get her on the phone now. Now, I don't know. This could all be BS, this whole thing, but I'm hearing this. It's 3 or 4 different people and that are telling me this story, and it's all kind of the same thing. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Here, I'll send.
Yeah, send that, because the question I would have in that is that, okay, a dog killing a Bigfoot?
Yeah, I'm going to send you this. I'm going to send you this right now.
No,
they were shooting them. They were shooting them, and then the dog would run up as they were dying.
Okay.
Crazy.
Wow, first I've heard of anything like that for sure.
I never heard of it either. M.K. Davis is the guy who knows all about the.
In this video you're sending now, this is the footage, the clear footage of the.
No, this is. Yeah, I just sent it to you. This is the guys walking through with the guns and the dog, and they're measuring the footprints, and they're talking, and there's like a bloody puddle here, and I'll send you the picture of the dog print. It's just the one print.
All right, let me see.
Let me take a look at this quick.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Let me run this. Get this up here. Tracking dog video. Okay. All right. Let me full screen that. Okay, so the radio's the guy, old footage, the guy walking down the path, bending down, looking at what would appear to be tracks in the mud, huge footprints in the mud.
Now, I have all these guys' names. I know the dog's name.
Wow.
I don't think those prints look real though, man. Like that's what bothers me.
Yeah, that the one they show close up looked kind of.
I don't know, but like it baffles me.
Yeah, who's the expert on it, right?
I know. I don't know. It's just an interesting story. Like all these people, the stories kind of like mesh together.
This is the first like hardcore like stance I've ever heard of like Bigfoot being physical, you know, like I don't know. It might be from my perspective, but being around a lot of tribes, Lakota, Navajo, like a lot of different medicine people and stuff, and hearing stories about them being more of like a dimensional being, but it's very deeply steeped in Native American history, the relationship with Sasquatch. But yeah, this is the first.
I mean, of them being killed.
Yeah, of them being like more physical,
and that's the thing. That's why there's a big debate between Bigfoot people. Is like this didn't happen or this couldn't happen because they're spiritual. So the people that think it's a relic hominid are like, yes, it did happen. People that think he's paranormal are like, no, it didn't happen because they can't be shot. You see what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely get it.
Right. So here's the bloody puddle right here to the right. Oh, wait, we might have missed it. I'll send you a picture of it.
And who are the people in the film? Do you know?
So one of them, his name's Jim Clearer, and he was like the head of the forestry department. And remember the Minnesota Iceman?
Never heard of it.
Okay, so Minnesota Iceman, he was an alleged Bigfoot that was encased in ice that was driven around the country in like the 50s or something like that. And the two guys that owned him, they were caught driving him over the border and stopped in Canada. And they got out of it by calling this guy Jim Clearer, and he got them out of it. And it's the same guy that's in this film. The other two guys are, hang on a minute. Their names are Dale Moffat and Bob Titmus.
I have to write those names down and look into that. This is very interesting. I mean, I would have thought that someone would have shown this video if it was out there. I would have figured I'd seen it at some point.
I know, man. I just came across it. Apparently MK Davis has been talking about it, but people just, they just don't care. They just don't listen to it anymore. It's forgotten about.
Yeah, there's some people that are on the fence about Patterson Gimlin film, just period, to begin with, that it's even a real film to begin with. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess looking at all this together might be a good idea, maybe considering the actual original film and then looking at this as well, putting them together and seeing, for one, if it's the same type of film, because I see someone in the comments saying that it's definitely looks like 1950s Kodachrome film, no dynamic range. I'm not an expert in that, so I couldn't really say.
I'm not saying any of this is real. I don't even know if Bigfoot's real, man. So I'm not pushing this story. I'm not nothing, man. I'm just telling you what I learned.
Very interesting, and
don't
I'm really
shoot
glad
the messenger, man.
That. Yeah, for real. No, I'm glad you brought it forward because I'm under the idea that.
Oh wait, there's more. So Jan Maccabee hires this guy to come and restore and digitize the film, right? And he gives her an encrypted copy, does not give her the password, and takes off with the copy. Rips her off. Says, I'm going to release it under my name. Sorry, widow. Sorry, old lady. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yep.
That clear video.
The guy who has the actual copy of the Patterson film is her lawyer, who also handles the copy of the Zapruder film. That's who's got the copy in Washington.
Wow.
Yep.
Why would that be the case?
That's her lawyer. The guy, she sought out the most professional attorney who handles films, and she hired the lawyer who has this Zapruder film to handle this Patty film.
Well, you're giving good tidbits. This would be something to look into. You might have kicked something off here by bringing this forward. So
and it's for sale. It's for sale. She's selling it.
Yeah, I bet everything's for sale. Yeah. And that's
I don't blame her, man. She's 70 years old. Her husband just died.
Yeah, but when things end up, when people start putting price tags on stuff, then you kind of have to think about motive and what can we see it before we pay for it? Like,
of course.
I hope so. I hope that be the case.
Man. Of course.
So we're going into this break right now. We're getting our mind blown right here with some video that might be tied to the Patty Gimlin film. We don't know. We'll find out. We'll look at this more after we come back from this break. You guys don't go anywhere.
You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio. You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
All right. We're off for off-camera video break. See you guys in a few minutes here.
Cool.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Spaced Out Radio, after hour number 2. And we have about maybe 45 seconds before we come back from radio break. So I'll take this time to say hello to those I haven't said hello to. Shane Goro, thanks for coming on in. Bob Marley, thanks for coming in. Paul Damon, appreciate you showing up. And Tom King, Susan Alloway, hey, thanks for coming in. Country Carpenter, hey. And Tom King, if you're still out there, which I hope you are, check your email, kind sir. As we get ready to come back from break here, 10 seconds here. Here we
go. Yeah, almost.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio. We're in after hour number 2 already, as we go ahead and get ready to come back with our guests for the night, David Altman and Drew Banky.
Hey, Susan.
David has actually gone ahead and dropped some news on us. Not really news, but dropped a video on us that we don't know. We're not saying that it's real. Now, let me preface it by saying that as we go ahead and get ready to jump into this here. So as we do that, let me go ahead and say, yes, we've shown a video here that potentially is tied to the Patterson-Gimlin film. It purportedly shows these guys out there maybe doing bad things to Bigfoot. We don't know. It could be connected. We're not saying that it's real. So let's get that clear for anybody who's going to say, oh, that's not real. We're not saying that. But let's go ahead and go and actually show the video again, because people have been requesting us to show it again. So we will. Let's go ahead and do that. And you make up your mind for yourself, right? Just take this evidence and let me know what you find, right? We're not going to back it or anything, but here we go.
Yeah, it's a YouTube video too, guys. So, you know.
Yes, so we'll leave the link.
Yeah.
But these prints, you're looking at prints that are supposed to be Bigfoot prints. As someone pointed out, some of them look too perfect. It's really hard to say. I've never seen one to be able to say, but
it just looks too flat.
That too, yes.
And I just sent you something else you can show too. It's an arrow, which it's allegedly pointing to some skins.
And suspiciously, the toes are perfectly dug into the ground, so I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
And if you could point out this blood puddle.
And I'm going to send you some other, some blood that's on the ground. I just sent you a picture of that.
All right.
Which is from the actual Patty film.
Who knows if it's real, but man, someone went into a lot of effort, you know, if it is a fake, like, and then you got to ask a question like, why, you know?
So allegedly the reason they went in and killed them was because the loggers up there were refusing to work.
So they were bothering them, throwing stuff at them or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah. And the Sasquatch, once again, allegedly, there's a spot up there where the grass won't grow and trees won't grow, and they put these rocks down as some kind of memorial to their fallen brethren.
Huh.
Yeah, I'll show you. Okay, so you'll see it in the next one that I sent you.
All right. In this video, I think it's about to end. Yep.
122 in the chat and 62 likes, guys. Come on, let's even.
Yeah, let's get the likes up if we can, guys. That we appreciate it if you could hit the like button.
I hit the like button.
We're digging here, guys. We're digging. This is what you guys want. Like, let's hit the like button. I appreciate it.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, Nobody's saying this is what it is. We're just looking at it and kind of spitballing. But let me get this other video up here. And let's see. We looked at that. Let me see here. All right. So these are all images.
Yeah,
see.
one's like a GIF.
Okay. All right. Let's bring these up here. Okay, here we go. All right, so, and it won't let us zoom.
Yeah, it's just an image. This is from the Patty film, and it's just a bloody spot on the ground from what, I don't know. But you're not able to see it, and it's from the actual film when it's cleaned up.
Ah, okay. That's the log that the thing is walking past, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's what that is. Okay, great. And then next image. Okay, this is from the video we just watched.
Yeah, that's supposed to be over there. It's supposed to be pointing to like a skin or something. And then I think I do have a better picture of the puddle of blood. Let me find it here.
That dog was in that part of the video. The dog was definitely barking at. Was definitely barking at that really strong. I remember that part of it, but I can't see what was in there.
Where is it?
Yeah, while we're waiting, you guys, please hit the like button or the dislike. It depends on how you feel. If you don't like it, hit the dislike. If you like it, please hit the like. Just some interaction would be helpful for the algorithm here.
The chat is lit up. 121 in the chat. What's up, everybody? I appreciate you guys.
Okay, here we go. Bloody skin enlarged.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, wait for that.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. All right, this is a video. Let's take it back. Okay, all right, and we're going to present this here. Bloody skin enlarged. And here we go. Wow, okay. So this spot right here, huh?
Yeah.
Oh. Definitely looks like something.
Yeah, a dog walks over to it, and you see the guy pull the dog away.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Definitely looks like something. Looks like dried up blood potentially. Yeah, it looks. I could see a skin potentially there. Not knowing what that is. Could be.
I mean, I don't know. Could be anything, but
yeah,
I mean,
could be another animal. But no, like I said, it's a collective of data. So, like I said, I haven't seen Patterson Gimlin film's been out for what 60 years.
Yeah,
long time. And to have this to add to it is just actually either good or bad. It'll shore up the original video, or it'll say, okay, maybe this is all BS. So it's I appreciate.
I mean, and you got to remember, a few minutes ago they were measuring footprints. So
yeah, okay. Well, that is actually interesting, very interesting to say the least. Definitely appreciate you bringing that. And if you wouldn't mind, then I guess since we're on the subject of Bigfoot, you said you had a story about Bigfoot. If you wouldn't mind kind of going into that. We have about 15 minutes till our next break.
Who, me?
Yeah, you said you had a Bigfoot story.
No, that was it.
Oh, okay.
That was the Bigfoot
yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, with that being said, then that's pretty compelling. Like I said, that's evidence for you guys to kind of look into and see how you feel about it. You may be able to point something out that says, no, this is not real. This is obviously a fake. Or you may be able to say, look, this lines up with that, and kind of further the conversation. So Be glad to be able to at least have it presented to you guys here tonight. Yeah, race fan, you make a great point. That skin could be from anything. I agree. It could be a deer, could be anything.
It could be not skin, it could be dirt.
Yeah, it could be wet dirt. Definitely is a darker spot. So yeah, we'll just leave it there. I mean, you guys figure it out, and we'll talk about it some other time. So I guess that was great actually. Being able to segue back into aliens and paranormal. So you it says paranormal in your bio. What part of the paranormal do you have experience with?
I mean, pretty much, I think I had a ghost encounter when I was a kid. I lived in a house where a man committed suicide in the basement. And I'm not sure if I remember it correctly or not, but I think I was pushed when I was younger. When I was about 11 or 12, I was in my brother's room turning down the stereo. And I don't know if I'm misremembering or what, but I think I was pushed back. That's like my only kind of ghost thing that I kind of remember. That's really it. Besides my UFO sighting, I've never had like a cryptid sighting or anything like that. Just a UFO encounter. And, I have been on paranormal like ghost investigations, paranormal investigations, but whether or not we actually caught anything, I don't know.
Yeah, I had some interesting in saying that, right? Because I have had the craft experience. I haven't had a lot of people have had bean experience with beans. I have not talked to any that I know of, but I've also talked to people and I've been under the impression I had this theory about abductions, and my theory was I think that most people or all people are not supposed to remember them. Like you're supposed to be abducted, sleep, or sedated in whatever a sedated state. And I believe that they're supposed to do whatever they do and then return you. And you're supposed to wake up and not remember any of it. And
that's
I think
what's so baffling about the whole thing. It's just are they not doing their job right? Is something broken or?
Well, see, that's the thing.
No, I don't think so.
If there's stories of people who go into surgery and wake up during surgery, you're not supposed to wake up after you're sedated. That's the plan. But some people do wake up. So I'm thinking, okay, the stories that we get back about people being on these ships, are they waking up prematurely and then therefore seeing part of the experience? Whereas maybe there's so many more of us that potentially have that experience and just don't remember it because you're not supposed to. You know what I mean? Like you're supposed to be sleeping the entire time. Same way
and then you hear like, maybe everyone in the world's being abducted and only a certain number of people are abducted. I was working on a show about people that get implants. Anybody want to get an implant removed on camera, that type of thing, and that didn't even go anywhere because I couldn't find anybody that wanted to do that. Even trying to find anybody that's had an abduction, a typical abduction where it's a gray, they get an implant like that, like a 90s gray abduction. I couldn't even find anybody that's had a new encounter like that. That has come forward, and and I kind of mentioned that during an interview, and then somebody wrote me on Twitter, and they were like, and I know this person, and I know who they talk to, and they're like, I was talking to somebody in intelligence, and they happened to mention to me, like, that's not happening anymore. Those typical abductions aren't happening anymore, and that's being noticed, And I'm sure I'll mention this now, and somebody's going to say in the chat, "Oh, that's BS. They are happening now." But I really don't think they're happening as much as they used to, you know. And I don't know, that's just something that I personally, putting the word out there, looking for somebody that can really say, "I was abducted. There were grays. It was awful. It was horrific, and I've got this implant." I couldn't find anybody,
I've heard, and I'm glad you brought that up too, because my theory on that has been, because I've heard that too. a lot of people, skeptics will say, well, why does it seem like abductions were only happening in this period and people really aren't reporting them now? And so when I looked at that, be having an open mind, I'm like, okay, well, let's look at it like this. Maybe that part of the experimentation is over. Maybe they completed what they needed to do there and they moved on to the next phase, whatever that is.
And thinking of that, when did they, and to me, they started, around 60s, 70s. I mean, people say, yeah, Betty, Barty, and Hill, but those weren't specifically grays, in my opinion. They were whatever looking beings. Abductions probably started then, but the grays didn't really come around till maybe a little bit around Whitley Strieber. So you've got that time period, so maybe 70s to the 90s, maybe early 2000s, and then that's it. So whatever they were doing, whatever, are they done? What were they doing? It's just, I don't know, man. It's weird.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Drew? Have you thought about that part of it? Like, maybe the reason why it doesn't seem they're abducting people anymore.
Or did their mission fail? Was it not working?
No, I mean, everybody on this show, all the regulars know my stance on. I think we're all related, but I've had experience with grays in ceremony and they were helpful. They showed me a few things. They showed me like basically tears when we cry in our emotions and stuff like that. And when we actually have tears, that's a medicine. But yeah, that's my experience with grays. I've never had a negative experience. I think so what you're saying, like the whole like vibe of overall negative experiences is starting to dwindle down, or
no, not negative experiences, just abductions in general seem to be on a downslide.
Well, like the Carla Turner experience is not happening anymore.
Yeah. What would be your theory on that? Like, what would you think? Do you see that as well? If you looked at it and said, okay, they used to do a lot of abductions in the 80s and 90s, 2000s maybe, but now it doesn't seem to be reported as much. Is it just that people aren't reporting them? Is it potentially that they're doing their job and people just aren't waking up during the abductions, so less are being reported because of that? Or it could be simply that maybe they moved on to the next phase of what it is that they're doing. They've gathered all their data from the abductions and experimentation, and now they moved on to phase 2 or 3 of whatever plan they have, and maybe they're doing something else now. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I got a interesting, it's all weird. I think it's about perspective. And I say that because Travis Walton, his story has changed from his first accounts. It was the whole experience was a totally different experience than how he explains it now. And not the actual what happened, but how he perceived how he was being treated.
Now he thinks that they helped him.
It all changed, yeah. And that's, I've had experiences. I've shared them on the story. I've shared them on this show before. Face-to-face encounters. Got a lot of video and stuff like that. But I've never had a negative experience. And that's like people that have psychedelic experience and they say they have a bad trip, and then they come back like two years later and be like, okay, it wasn't a bad trip. I actually learned something. It took me a while to like unpack it. And that's the same thing that happened with Travis Walton. When I met him in 2019, I only got to talk to him for like 10, 15 minutes, but looking into his eyes and feeling his vibe, it was very, very apparent that he did have an actual experience, and, his perspective changed over time, him having to unpack it. So I think that's something we need to look at. Like, that's a very famous case, and, his perspective changed to,
yeah, but I don't think Carla Turner would ever turn her experience around from they're demons that are coming to get me to
I don't know that particular case or the.
Oh, really?
Or
Yeah, dude. She was a very famous researcher. Unfortunately, she passed away from cancer in the 90s. But yeah, she was you should definitely look into her, man. She was a great speaker. But
Yeah, I
she
will.
was convinced.
Write that
I
down
mean,
right now.
very negative for her. Just, I
Yeah.
mean, you know, people that are, you know, it's people that have had just very negative experiences. You know,
Oh, I'm
that
sure.
there's
Yeah.
that there's no way that they're going to change their mind and that they were positive.
Sure.
You know,
And I want to put that out there. Like, I'm not advocating or saying that they're not having those experiences or diminish their experiences or whatever. I'm just sharing my own take on it. That is all. And these are not the thoughts of Spaced Out Radio.
yeah, right.
Disclaimer.
Or let's say even really, you know, like grays in general. You know, like how often do we hear about gray? I mean, besides you, how often do we hear about grays? You know, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and Tom King makes a good point. They aren't here to help us at all. They're observing us, giving us tests, and then adjusting decade by decade with some plans that I doubt will benefit from. And I'll kind of go off of that, Tom King, because we have a guest. You may have seen him recently on the Jeff Maher podcast and some other podcast, guy by the name of Reed Summers. So we'll have here on September 21st. And I love his outlook because he is looking on, hey, let's not, just be complacent with these things are here to do good things. What's the real reason why they're here? And is there a negative outlook? Maybe it's something we should be talking about. And so you guys, if you're into that part of the topic, definitely make sure you're here, hit the notification bell. I have the show already posted. Make sure you're alerted to come back and have the conversation, because I think that one is going to be awesome. And we could kind of have part of that conversation tonight, as we got about 2.5 minutes before we go to our next break. I think that just like you said, there are experiencers who have definitely said that they felt like that these abduction experiences were not great. Some people though say they felt comfortable, they felt loved, and they felt cared for. And it's just weird to see both sides of that. And I wonder why. What's the difference there? Is it because they're being abducted by different types of ETs or with different intents, or is it just all perception, or really what is it? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, why is it that some people, when they're having a negative experiences, they cry out in the name of Jesus Christ and it ends?
Yeah,
I've heard that too. Now that's a whole different thing to it.
A whole nother rabbit hole.
Here's what someone said to it, and kind of opened me up to that, because I have never really connected it to being spiritual, even though I did make a point to say that it was weird that a lot of people that have been the talking heads for this subject have kind of moved their conversations from nuts and bolts into maybe this is spiritual, which was very confusing to me. But then I heard someone make a statement that kind of brought it together. It was like, oh, maybe they said, throughout humanity's history, going all the way back, whenever these things have been referred to, they've been referred to in a spiritual sense. And it's only now in our current day that we are looking at them in a different light or saying that there's something else. So they were saying that to say they've been looked at as spiritual all this time. Maybe they actually are spiritual, and we're trying to just put a different label on them now. And I thought about that, and I was like, wow, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And it could tie in, and that makes me want to know why people at the top, like the I think Coulthard, even the people in Congress, some people in Congress just mentioning spiritual, Burchett, and I just want to know why it is that what did they see or what did they hear or know that makes them now shift into talking about that? Because you wouldn't think the two are connected, but I guess there's a reason why they did so. So we have about 40 seconds left if anybody wants to finish that out.
Well, I mean,
just want to
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead, brother.
Well,
ahead.
I mean, basically, just read American Cosmic. There's that. I mean, just going and look into researchers that have put that connection there. Diana Pasolka's book American Cosmic, where she talks about looking through the Vatican's library and all those books. Are we ending here? I see you going
right.
Like this.
Right
okay,
now
go
we're going into get ready to go into the last half of hour number 2, which we're already coming here, which is weird. But definitely want to thank you for coming in. You guys kick back, stay tuned as we get back with more of this conversation. And is this spiritual? Is this nuts and bolts? We don't know. We're just talking it through. Stay right here. We'll be right back after this break. All right, we are clear. And yeah, so usually, you know, you can just kick around and say whatever you want to say right now. We're still live on YouTube. But like the conversation, let's hold it for after the break, the real conversation. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And
I just want to point out that
step off camera for a second. Go ahead.
I just want to point out that Discovery Channel has a very strong presence here on Spaced Out Radio. I wanted to point that out.
The Discovery Channel is strong with this.
No, I was on a reality show from Discovery.
Which one?
Homestead Rescue. Homestead Rescue.
This is true. Drew, go ahead and talk to the audience about that.
No, so I'm about to go on another episode. I'm about to film another episode with them in middle of September. I think September 15th or so. I'll be joining in the second part of an episode that they're filming here in Colorado.
Hey, Tim F. What's up, Tim F?
Tim Mothman. Yeah, but it's funny that you talk about like things about Discovery, how they're particular on things like.
What's up, Mike Boyle?
When they come out here and did the show, like we couldn't talk really about ayahuasca. I couldn't say the word ayahuasca. I couldn't say a bunch of
there
things.
was a lot of that I wanted to put in. Trust me to that. I want to talk about that kind of stuff too. They wouldn't let me. Because there was a woman that had an encounter in Peru, and she was down there doing ayahuasca, and they wouldn't let us talk about it.
No, they like when they come out here, they let us talk about us having a retreat center or equine therapy center, but we had to leave out ayahuasca and all this other stuff. But yeah, Discovery's funny on things, man. I'm grateful to be in the door somewhere, you know, making some moves with them.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. Like I said, Drew, your message needs to get to the big stage, man. And we know you have the the episode coming up with the Ian Big podcast.
Oh man, I cannot wait.
It's coming up. We're gonna talk about it deep. We're gonna go deep on it once it comes out. We're definitely gonna make sure everybody goes to watch that. You have to. Drew Banky bringing his message to the masses, and hopefully getting to that goal of being on Joe Rogan, man. I think
Joe,
the perfect dude to genuine dude with the genuine cause, selflessness, doing things for others, man. Because your story is awesome, dude. And
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, we showcase it. We've talked about it a lot here. So people, if you don't know Drew's story, we are obviously going to talk about it as time goes. But we did a couple episodes around it. If you jump into the archives, youtube.com/@spacedoutradio, you will catch the episode where we really get into it and talk about Drew's doing some awesome stuff for veterans with PTSD and bringing them to his homestead. And if you watch Homestead, the Homestead Rescue episode, you'll kind of get an idea from that too. And good things happen to good people, man. So keep it up, keep that energy going out there, and the energy comes back to you and blesses you in ways that you're seeing now with the being able to be on these larger platforms, man. So keep it up.
You're not even kidding. This last week we got a huge blessing. I just keep it personal, but it was a huge blessing come to us just by surprise. And yeah, but this whole Ian Bick Locked In, Ian Bick podcast, you can find anywhere where you find podcasts or on YouTube. But he just got sponsored by Mike Tyson, so the timing works out great that the episode is going to come out, after a couple weeks after he got picked up by Tyson. So It's all good, man. Just good things.
Good stuff. And everybody, we got about a little over a minute roughly before we come back. Any questions that you want to ask, please put them in caps so we can make sure that we ask them here on the last half of hour number 2 as we get ready to close out this interview.
Corey Feldman questions.
No Corey Feldman questions, even though
man,
you got all right, maybe one.
If
that was my last 30 minutes.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
You can ask one, Drew.
Exactly. So, yep, getting ready to come back, and let me check the chat here real quick.
I did see that super chat asking about my story. Yeah, check out the archives, man. Type in my name, you find a bunch of them.
Yes. As we get ready to come back here, we thank you for your support, Cosmic Joe Chronicles. Awesome guy. Drew's here every Sunday. He's just a regular here, so you're going to hear a lot from Drew as we get ready to come back here right about almost now. All right, everybody, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio After Hour 1.5 as we get ready to go to the back half of this hour and finish up the interview here that we had with David Altman, who was gracious enough to join us, especially at the last minute. Come on and talk his show on the Discovery Channel, Alien Encounters Fact or Fiction. Make sure you guys go watch that. And we're just really talking about a phenomenon. He brought forth some video compelling. Is it real? Is it fake? We don't know. We're not condoning or saying that it is real, but it gets your mind going. And I think that's the biggest thing here, is to be able to have these conversations that get you thinking. And you get you out there to kind of put evidence together yourself. So as we get to the back half of this hour here, I wanted to kind of talk about, just experiences in general, right? So I had some stuff here, and I want to show you. Actually, okay, first of all, let's start it off. Everybody here knows the story, but I want to tell you, David. So I had this UFO sighting. I had no experience with the phenomenon prior to 2022, 2 years ago, almost to the day. And but I was into the topic. I was doing a show with Roderick Martin, Why the Big Secret over there. We were doing shows, and I had a conversation on the show with the guy who was claiming to be a reptilian channeler, is what he said. And as he was saying what he was saying, him, and you may have met my guy Mateo. He was my co-host, and he actually, I guess he felt maybe we weren't really believing what it was that he was saying or buying everything he was saying. So he kind of stopped in the middle of his interview and asked, would you be open to meeting one of these extraterrestrials? Would you be open to doing it? And then I was like, yeah, sure, of course I would. I would jump at the chance. And I BS you not, less than 7 days later, I had a sighting, first sighting ever, with 47 objects in the sky in a formation, almost like tearing the sky. And I think they're the same objects from that show. I live about 120 miles from Catalina Island. I'm right up here in Bakersfield. You know where Bakersfield is at. I'm right up here in Bakersfield. And I had a sighting midday, 12 noon, clear blue sky, no clouds, right overhead. These formation of white objects kind of floated across. First, we thought they were birds because they were in a ball, in a cluster, and they were kind of just doing this. And my girl called me out, and she was like, you need to come look at this. She wouldn't tell me what it was. I came out and looked, and I'm like, I could see them, and I'm like, those probably birds. She was like, no. She was like, I see them shining. The sun is shining on them. And I stood there, and I looked a little longer, and I saw that. It was like a metallic element to these things, and I ran in and grabbed my phone. And then by the time I came back out, which is 30 seconds passing, they had moved from being in that ball and were now coming overhead, and they were in a formation like a V, almost like birds, seriously. But when I looked at them, I could see them. They were low enough to see with my naked eye. These things were little balls. They were little white balls, and each one of them had these like black pipe-like objects sticking out the bottom of them, poking out the bottom and the top. And it was weird because they seemed like they were alive and they were fluid.
And you filmed them?
I filmed them. Yeah, let me do that.
Like, what are you talking for? Come on, man.
and they just disappeared in a clear blue sky. And I have actually, let me bring up I'm gonna bring that up, man. Everybody here has seen it, and they're always like, whoa. And it was crazy. And the thing that was anomalous, these things just kind of disappeared into thin air. But let me see. Let me bring up the videos on my page here. But I'll tell you as well. So after that, we had a
I thought you were going to tell me, like, he sent over a reptilian. You knocked on the door and you opened it, and there was a reptilian standing there.
Nah,
with like a bag of Taco Bell.
Here's play poker for the next 5 hours.
I try not to tie those two things together. I'm just saying it's weird that we
or
had
he
that
like shapeshifted in front of you or something.
Now this is where we're gonna jump down the rabbit hole because here it is, YouTube. Let me bring the video up here. This is
I thought he was gonna say his eyes moved or something.
Yeah, something like.
Man, I'm telling you, it's even deeper than that. Let me see. 47 objects. Okay, here we go. I don't want to play. Get to the beginning. Okay, here we go. All right. So here's the video.
122 in the chat.
All right. Here's the video. And I kind of put it together because I was trying to tie
it's like the Tic Tac.
Yeah, no, exactly. This is where I'm making comparisons. So this is how it goes.
Some good footage, dude.
All right. Yeah, I'm just showing this because obviously these famous site. I think the objects were the gimbal, truthfully. See the protruding up and down on it, the protruding things. I think that's what those pipes were, but you'll see here. And I was saying the shapes were redacted at one point because I think they know if we know what the shapes are, that we'll say we've seen these all the time. All right, my sighting's coming next here right after this. All right, here's my sighting.
Oh, it's like a flotilla. Those happen in Mexico all the time.
Yes, exactly.
That's crazy. I don't know what those are.
47. Crazy.
Yeah, those happen in Mexico all the time.
No, they ain't birds. No, they're not. Dude, those are not birds.
Did you see if there was any other people that saw them?
Yeah, I checked. No one saw them, but there was an airplane pilot. I checked Flight Tracker 24 who was flying in at the time this happened. And I think that pilot may have seen them, so I'm trying to reach out to
Yeah,
them.
dude, if we do a season 2, I definitely want you to bring this on.
Let's do it.
Definitely. I would have definitely had you on season 1 with this.
Exactly.
I didn't know.
Birds, where they go, Kiari?
Oh, that's him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That was so responding.
Kiari. But listen to my girl. What
Birds,
she said.
where did they just go?
They disappeared completely.
Nah, ain't no maybe. You would still see them, dude.
The thing that was crazy was when I had first seen them, they were shining. It was like, that's what caught my eye. It was like, they were shining.
Crazy.
And then.
That's a good video.
You should show this to Mark D'Antonio.
Yeah, I want to.
I'll call him for you. I'll get it to him.
Yeah.
I'll
This is what they
I can
look
do
like.
an email. If you give me your email, I'll do an email to you, me, and Mark, and we can send it to him.
Look, this is what they look like. Balls with these little objects sticking out the top and bottom. This pipe eye. So I found a on New Fork, someone had the same object that they filmed one day after I did film this. Here's someone in 2020 who filmed the same things in Oakland, California.
Yeah, they're common. I mean, they're not, I shouldn't say common, but there's multiple sightings in Mexico City of these.
Tactical formation. And this is the one that was reported over in Colorado.
Flotillas.
Yeah. And I did a video where I kind of show the ones in Mexico too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Aurora,
definitely. We'll
Colorado.
send him to Mark, see what he says.
And I asked Mick West, I put it on Twitter first, and I asked Mick West. Here's Mick West's reply. More likely,
they're seagulls.
Like, for example, seagull. Yeah. Okay, so I'm like, well, please explain this. And then I show other sightings here, which is the same thing. Sherman Oaks, California, in 2022. They thought they were birds as well. The same objects.
Mark's live every night with his
the Skywatch.
Sky watching channel, yeah.
Okay, this is what I sent to MUFON. The description.
Hey, look, everybody, it's his email.
Yeah, it is. Email me. It's all good.
Instagram and Twitter.
And okay, fighting one more time.
How high up were they?
Maybe 1,000 feet, maybe. You can see them clearly with the naked eye, in detail.
How fast do you think they were going? I mean, what you said, they disappeared.
They weren't going fast at all. They weren't going fast at all. And that was another point I wanted to make. The 5 observables, they don't have to be present. Well, I guess in this case they disappeared, so there may be one of them. But that the speed and the they don't always do that, and that's what I want people to know. They don't always exhibit.
Tom, what do you think they are? Tom King.
Tom, I know he probably filmed these.
Tom, you still here?
I think I've showed Tom as well. I've had Tom on
Is
my
he
show.
still in the chat?
I'm watching the chat. I don't see it.
Let me call him real quick.
CR, those are birds. Where did they just go? Nah, ain't no maybe. Dude, you can still see them, dude.
And they disappeared. So my whole thing is, I'm like, what are they doing? Why so brazen? Why just right overhead in the middle of the day, not hiding at all? Why so many?
If they're not birds, I don't know what they are, man.
Exactly. And I feel like their work was in gimbal.
If they did this, I mean, if they disappeared, they're
all
not
right,
birds.
now it's time for my baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
So let's do. Now you're right. So those objects are the ones that you guess flotilla, and they showed there were hundreds of them flying over Mexico, and they had many different incidents with those objects. And so my whole thing is that I feel like that's why the government redacted shapes, because just like you said, those are so commonly seen that if they would have admitted, like they did afterwards, that the most common ones they're seeing are silver translucent spheres, which is exactly what these things are, that they, people will realize.
I don't think those are spheres. I don't think those were spheres.
They're not actual spheres. They're kind of oblong a little bit, right? They're not perfectly round, But I think the government for surely has seen these. They know what these things are. Like, they know they're anomalous, and they know that they're everywhere. And it's like, okay, well, what are they? Because they're flying right overhead, and they're in these formations. And it's like, well, what are they doing? Are they spraying something out of these black pipes? Like, people talking about chemtrails and things like that. Are they spraying something? Are they mapping the area, or what exactly are they doing? But I can tell you they're not from here. Now, I'll be middle of the road, like I've always said, which is why I put it out to Twitter for skeptics to look at. Because, okay, if it's a black project or something, show me what it is. Because right now it's exhibiting behavior that appears to be not man-made. And at this point,
I don't think they're drones, because they've been seen in Mexico since like the 90s, early 90s.
And I have film of that too. I don't know if I have.
Yeah. They came out, like, I remember Kiviat did those specials in the 90s, and there's a lot of footage.
I think I do have them, actually. Let me see.
The Fox specials that they had, when they had that one of that one that like kind of shimmers behind the building.
Yeah, and they okay, and here's another thing I wanted to show too. So we had after that, we had a shadow person sighting here in the house. So my daughter was doing a TikTok with their friends on FaceTime, and she had this little holder that mounts on the door. So she's in the hallway doing TikTok dances. While she's doing this, she has to go to the restroom. So she leaves her phone there, goes in the restroom. While she's in the restroom, her friends hit the button on the screen to capture what they saw on the thing. They told her there's something in your house. And then they sent her the picture. And I want to see if I can bring that up. I think I have it here. Where's my shadow people? Okay, let me check my computer here. There's a shadow person slide. Everybody here is seen. I can't believe I don't see it here. Did I delete it? Let's see. Reno trip, orbs, blah, blah, blah. Very strange. Show orbs. Show Reno. Oh no, maybe it's on here. Man, I can't believe I don't have it. Okay, but
everybody, 1 a.m. Coast to Coast. Lou is on my good friend George Knapp's show tonight.
Yeah, got to check that out. And let me see.
I guess I can announce that I got hired to executive produce a scripted show. We have a press release coming out in September, coming out on Deadline, Hollywood Reporter. It's going to be kind of like X-Files meets Jason Bourne. We have a lot of consultants, people that you'll recognize. We've teamed up with a group I'm associated with, the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. When I'll be able to talk about it more once the press release comes out, but it's going to be big news once the story drops. And it's called Shadow State is the name of the series. It's in development.
That is awesome. The more the merrier, man. I'm just so happy to see things being produced in relation to the topic on a large stage. We got James Fox still about to come out with this program documentary, which he just says is out of this world. Have you heard anything about it?
No. This show it's not a documentary. It's going to be following a character pretty much based off someone like Ross Coulthart, who's running around trying to find out what's going on behind the scenes and trying to get disclosure out there. It's pretty much going to be following what's going on now. It's kind of like Project Blue Book, but it's going to be based off characters like Ross and Lou Elizondo and but it's going to be going also following history with people, like Doty and Project Blue Book, all sorts of stuff that we've all learned throughout history. It's going to be crazy.
Oh, shout out Rick Doty. He should be coming back on the show soon. And I think I have it now. I just downloaded it. So let me see. Slides and shadow people. Here we go. So we captured this, just like I said, she caught doing the TikToks, and this is what they screen captured. It's processing. Come on, we're live. Guess while this processing, I'll show this. We caught this in Reno. We were at the fan party in Reno, and we were having lunch, and it did that, and it was weird. And it was just this dot in the sky. We were sitting, talking, having lunch outside, and then I just noticed this little dot in the sky, and I'm like, what is that?
Tic-tacky.
Yeah, and it was just sitting there, and it was moving slowly across the sky. It was near an airport. It was actually the same day that they caught those two little white dots following the plane out of Las Vegas. So it was the same day, but it was over in Reno, and it was basically the same object. And I don't know, if this is the same thing I filmed in the 47 thing, but it could be. But here's the shadow people here. We get to right here. Okay, here it is. Shadow people. This is what we saw inside the house. Right.
You kidding me?
Right.
That's real?
That is real.
What?
That is real.
Art Bell would be very proud.
Yep. So the TikTok, you can see the FaceTime. I had to blur out their faces up here in the upper right corner of the kids. But she was in the bathroom, which is that door you see in the frame, and the camera's still rolling. They're on live on FaceTime, and the girls hit the little picture capture button. And then when she comes out, she says to my daughter that there's someone in your house, or there's something in your house. And so they immediately sent them, texted this over to her. And then I was out of town. Actually, I was coming in town. It was a little after midnight when this happened. And as soon as I get home, she shows me this photo, and I know what it is because I'm into the subject, but she didn't know what it was. And then I asked her, do you know what shadow people are? And then she was like, no. I was like, well, you should do some research. I didn't really want to go into detail.
How old is she?
Right then. At the time, she was like 14,
Okay,
13,
that's not
14.
that
And I just didn't want to tell her what it was because it was nighttime. She still had to go to bed, but I told her, look into it. And then the next
I can't
day,
go to bed tonight.
it was like the next day or the day after, I went ahead and had, I don't know what the hell that is.
It's a phone call.
I'm being called by someone, and it's apparently they must know I'm on air because I don't know who this is. Don't call whoever that is. I'm on air. All right. Okay. And so I didn't want to scare her and tell her. So the next day, I talked to her and I was like, did you look into it? And she was like, yeah. She was completely spooked and scared about what it was she saw.
Wow.
But with that being said, much more to share with you, David. So we'll do that because we're actually at the end of the hour right now. We got about a minute left. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Twitter at David H. Altman, or X, whatever. Facebook, David H. Altman, and Instagram, which I barely use, is David Henry Altman. There you go.
All right. That is awesome. I really do appreciate you coming in, especially last minute.
No problem, man. Anytime.
We're going to do it again. I'll reach out to you as well. I now have your contact, so we'll talk. And
we'll get the stuff over to Mark.
And I would love to come and show that on the show because I think a lot of people need to see it because it's there and it's in the sky, and somebody has to answer to what in the hell this is. They have to say, like, the government knows they're flying right over our heads and they don't care that we're seeing them. It's in the middle of the day. So what is their intent? That's where I get into where is their intent. But with that being said, thank you for coming on in, David Altman. We do appreciate you showing up. Drew Banke, you're sticking around for hour 3. Everybody else, you guys don't go anywhere. Give love to David. Make sure you go over and show some love on his page.
Good night, guys. Thanks for having me.
You take care, man.
You can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio.
Ooh.
You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
All right, guys, we're going to our second video break, and we'll be back right after this. Yes, everybody, welcome back. Spaced Out Radio after hour number 3 as we get ready to, we're coming back from the YouTube break, getting ready to come back from the radio break in about 30 seconds here. So get ready. We're going to have an awesome hour 3 here as well. All right, here we go. All right, welcome back, everyone. Spaced Out Radio after hour number 3. This is the last hour. We had an awesome hour 1 and 2 with our guest, David Altman. Want to definitely thank him for sharing what he shared today. A lot of mind-blowing moments, right, in the conversation. We're going to jump into more. But first, all you space travelers out there, consider taking the next step. You're already traveling space. Become a Spaced Out Radio space traveler over on Patreon. $5 per month will get you in as we jump into what we're going to talk about here in hour number 3. And I want to thank Maggie M10. I know she just had to leave. Thank you for your support of Spaced Out Radio. We do appreciate you for doing that. And we may be joined by another guest here momentarily as we go, but we're just going to kind of get this thing started off. Yeah, no Steve Stockton tonight. Super Crazy Movie Geek. We did have him last night. But I knew we were going to talk about what we're about to talk about now, and that's going to pretty much take up our hour 3. So we got the perfect guy here to talk about it, and if we have the third person come in, a surprise guest, he's going to actually add to the conversation, but we'll go ahead and get it started for now. And this topic, and I'll bring it up on the screen here, is ayahuasca, DMT, and Bofu or Bufo. I spelled it wrong. Spiritual enlightenment. So with that being said, Drew, this is what you do. You know, I lean on you to kind of get the knowledge on this and what this means. When it comes to the phenomenon, you have a lot of people that take trips out to remote places in order to have this experience. Some people say when they have this experience that they encounter beings during their episode and all sorts of other things. So if you wouldn't mind kind of unrolling what this is, and we'll get into the conversation.
Yeah, we're kicking off. So we're circle back to what I was mentioned in the main interview with David about my experiences with Grays. So this was in a ceremony, in a ceremony state where we were ingesting Yopo, which is 5-MeO. It's the same as Bufo, but it's 5-MeO. So there's like different spirits attached, quote unquote spirits attached to those ceremonies, because the ritual, goes back. Yopo ritual goes back thousands of years. The Bufo ritual only goes back, just like back in the 60s, they started to find this for the first time. That's known of, like the history behind it. But yeah, I was in a ceremony. I was apprentice with a teacher, and he asked me to help out with this ceremony. I normally helped him out with ayahuasca ceremonies, but he asked me to help out with this ceremony, and this happened in Crestone. And he ingested his medicine. We waited, and when he come out of his experience, then he started serving everyone else, but I was the first one to get served. So it gets ingested by someone. So it's ground up seeds, Yopo seeds, and it contain a high amount of DMT. So how it gets processed, it gets dried out. The seeds gets dried out. They get smashed up into a powder, and then that gets basically shot up your nose through like this straw type of thing, you know. So I don't want to get too much into details about the whole ceremony, but got my my ears started buzzing. Like similar experiences I've talked about before, like is really overpowering vibration and like tinnitus that took over your body. It started off as tinnitus and it changed over to a vibration, and finally it just to where you couldn't stand anymore and you have to give up. This is similar experience to after ingesting Yopo. So I'm sitting there in the corner of the room, this little light like down on the floor, like at the floor level of the wall starts to light up, and this door starts to open up, and as it starts to open up, it gets about like 3 or 4 feet opened up, like the circle of light. And I see this first hand reach through, and it's like a 3-finger hand of a gray. It reaches through there, and it reaches its leg, and it like crawls through this little hole, and the hole keeps still opening up, and there's 2 more that come in as the hole's opening up. But the first, it's like you couldn't wait for the the portal to open all the way up, but it come in, and I started like sobbing, like it was like very real for me, and I started sobbing, and they were walking around healing people in the ceremony, and I'm looking over at the medicine man, like he's had a lot of experience. This is my first experience with this particular ceremony, and I'm looking at him, and he's like, "Yeah, it's pretty crazy, huh?" Like seeing this all the time. He's acting like it's kind of normal, but as he's singing and doing different Icaros and things like that, songs, these 3 grays are walking around and they're healing everybody. Like they're just reaching down, like not touching them, but like they're reaching down towards them, and you can see like energy. I can see like energy coming out of them, going and like scanning over each and every person. And they come up to me, and they like communicate with me, and they like ask me why I'm crying. I was like, because my wife Ella was having like some real bad cramps like that all the time, and having a lot of stuff going on in her stomach. And I said, "You're healing everybody in here." And they were walking me around and showing me like how energy comes out of my hands and stuff like that. They were holding my hand and showing me. And they said, "Why are you crying?" I was like, "Because my wife is hurting, and I can't heal her. I can't help her." They're like, "Of course you can." And they held my hand. They wiped a tear off my face, and they had me rub it on my wife's stomach. And before that point, my wife, after her first child, my stepdaughter Alyssa, which is in college now, just started her sophomore year of college, she couldn't have children after that. But then, in between that happened, and then Hawk and Ember come. So she was able to have children after that. And, I attest that moment to it. So that's my personal experience with Grace. I've shared that experience before, maybe not as in depth as that one, but that's my personal experience with Grace. And I think it's all about, I haven't had any experiences with any other beings in a long time. It's more like connected in a different way. I think it's a progression. I've had a lot of experiences in a short time with being on ships and meeting beings and things like that, but it's been a while since anything like that happened. Now that I said that, maybe something's going to happen, but that's my experiences with one of my experiences with having ET, quote unquote ET, come into ceremony. And it's happened more than once, but that's probably one of the most profound ones that I can remember right off the top of my head.
So let me ask you, what particular ceremony was that? Which one of the 3 was that? DMT?
So that's not on the list, but it's good.
Okay.
It ties in with Bufo. Bufo is 5-MeO DMT. That's the molecule that's in it. So Yopo has the same 5-MeO, and that experiences with the Greys in that ceremony scared me so bad. I resisted. People tried to gift me Bufo ceremonies, like my circle. There's a lot of medicine people in my circle, and a lot of lot of people like say, hey, you need to sit down with Bufo. Like I want to help you out. I want to give you a ceremony. And, I was like, no, I had my experiences with 5-MeO, and, it was explained to me. It took me a while to really believe it and do a Bufo ceremony, but I probably would have done Bufo a lot sooner if it wasn't for that Yopo ceremony, just because there's so much stigma around Greys. Like my experience with Greys, they were teaching and they were healing in the moments that I spent with them here, and they come here on this plane, and I wasn't the only one to see them in that ceremony. But that's that really, it scared, it didn't, the demeanor of the beings didn't scare me. It was the intensity of the realness. And that's what turned me off from 5-MeO for a long time, until I finally did Bufo. And Bufo is 5-MeO, but there's a different quote unquote spirit attached to Bufo that uses the 5-MeO molecule as a gateway to show a different reality or different truth of the cosmos. The Yopo was connected, and as I did research on it afterwards, there was connection to Greys and ET experiences that people have reported in the past. So with Bufo, it is more of just a source like experience of experiencing the universe as a whole.
And so can you give an idea to people like with as much as people come back and say about the experience they had, and kind of, when you go through explaining everything that happened within that experience, you would think it's this long drawn out thing where, you've been under for an hour or to have all these experiences. But how long are you actually under while you're having these experiences? How much time has passed?
Physically, 5 to 15 minutes that you're not, in the room. That's where you're totally disassociated. There's points before and after, more after, especially with DMT or stuff like that. Ayahuasca, it's much more subtle, and the peaks last a lot longer, but they're not as intense as a straight DMT experience or something. If you were just to smoke straight DMT, or chongo, which is a smokable form of ayahuasca, it's a very quick onset to where you go from seeing this to a digitalized reality. Oftentimes with DMT or chongo experiences, there's a digital, and even with ayahuasca ceremonies, I've seen a digital overlay in the room. I've seen the digital overlay of a song. I've seen it broken down in a very unarticulable way, but all I can say is there's a lot to, taking what's in our mind, even right now, taking what's in our mind and bringing it down, going through our whole system and pushing air over our vocal cords to communicate, trying to communicate something, articulate a moment. That it's a lot to take in, and there's moments, anyone that's done, I'm sure if you're in the chat now or sticking in the chat now, now that we're in hour 3 and it's getting late, you want to hear about DMT or you've done DMT. I think the overlay is kind of a pattern that's here. It's showing us there's a pattern. I've seen it outside, even going on DMT or ayahuasca ceremonies and stepping outside in the middle of the night to maybe use the bathroom or something like that, take a piss and look up at the stars, and you see a digital overlay of everything. And I think that's energy pathways and things like that. I don't think it's I don't think the whole simulation thing per se. Maybe in a much different way that is in a lot of people's minds, it's a simulation, but I think it's simulation by, spiritual, I think. And I think to answer the second part of it, spiritual enlightenment, I think these are a fast track way. I think there's several other ways, like I've said over and over again, but the ayahuasca, DMT, bufo, any of those things like that are fast tracks too, especially if you have the right guide. You know, if you have the right guide and able to kind to help explain things in a way where you can have it as a spiritual experience. You know, lots of times people have, when they smoke straight DMT, they talk about machine elves, and it kind of backs away from the spiritualness of it a little bit. But I think it's all there to like break you out of your mold. You know, anyone that's done any of these medicines or things that are on here, ayahuasca, DMT, bufo, like, you know, one of the first things they say, they never see the world the same.
I was just going to say that, and I'm glad you actually ended with that, because me and you, we've talked offline about this, and you've said specifically that you know, once you have had this experience, that you end up seeing things differently going forward, and you don't, you know, you're not the same, essentially. Like, you're the same, but you're more open and you're more receptive to the environment around you. What place is that you're, you know, if you had to describe, like, are you leaving your body? Or are you like, where are you going? What type of realm are you stepping into when you're having this experience?
That's a good question. That's you know, that's a good question. That's I've been on this journey since 2016, you know, since my first cup of ayahuasca, you know, and that's still a question, you know, where are you going? Are you going anywhere? You know, that's the first thing you got to answer. Are you going anywhere? And no one can answer that. So you can't get to the second, you know, there's no way to get to the second part, because we don't know if we're going anywhere or if everything's happening right here.
Yeah.
Or if it's a little bit of both. So you got to answer that first, you know, before we figure out where we're going. Like, maybe we're not going anywhere. Maybe we're going inside ourselves. Maybe we're visualizing our memory that's in our brain. Maybe we're visualizing our memory that's contained in every cell in our body. Maybe we're melding with all the cells outside of our body. You know, who knows? You know, there's a lot to, there's many ways to think about it, but these things will bring up that question in you, in the experience, you know.
Here's one thing that I'm not saying that it is like this or that it's the same as this, but just like when you were stating earlier, you're only under for 5 to 15 minutes. However, you have this profound experience during that short period of time, which might go into the whole time thing too. Like, is time even experienced the same? Is 15 minutes really 15 minutes under that?
I will say this, like, you know, the laws of time that dictate our 3D reality that we're in at this current moment are not laws in other dimensional fields. Because, you know, you hear, oh, I was only under 5 or 10, 15 minutes, but it was, you know, you hear it all the time, like 6 years of therapy in 5 minutes, or 20 years of therapy in 5 minutes. Because they're talking like you're going to the other side, you know, whatever that is, quote unquote, other side. We're going to the other side. You're communing with many people. You know, they talk about communing with the spirit, and the spirit knows that you have a time constraint in the physical that you can be there, but it doesn't go by those laws. You know, it can take, you go into past lives, you go into other experiences, you realize that people around you now are related from there's other experiences. Like, there's another experience going on right now where you're over here, you've had the experience with ayahuasca, I'm over there curious about it and bringing it up as a topic. And there's every single variable of this situation is happening. And that's what I truly believe. And that's what I've been shown, and that's what I truly believe. Every single version of this experience, this moment, this moment, this moment, this millisecond, every single part of it. There's a part where you don't blink at all. There's a part where you're wearing glasses. There's a part where you're wearing a black bandana and red frames. Every single variable of this is happening because one of the verbal things I was told from source is that we're here to have experiences, and we're here to have experiences from every single option and variable possible to heighten the experience and consciousness of the whole, of the one.
So let me ask you this. And this is kind of what I was getting into as well. So time, and it makes sense that time is perceived differently while you're under, because what I kind of relate this to, and it's actually two parts. So I'll just say this as a statement. It almost to me, just hearing about it, because I haven't done any of these things yet, but we're setting it up. So I go down to Drew's and have this experience, but and I'll be able to tell everyone about it afterwards. But it just, it almost reminds me of lucid dreaming, right? When you have these dreams that are so real and you feel like you travel to these other places. And then on top of that, when you so tired, you may doze off for like 5 or 10 minutes and have had this full drawn out dream experience during that time, and then you wake up and it's only 5-10 minutes later. You're like, how in the world did I do all of that in that dream, and I've only been asleep for 5 or 10 minutes? So it's kind of like the same thing there. But what I wanted to kind of get into, I don't know if you have any knowledge in this, but I'm an open book, so I'll say that I have. And this is one of the comments that kind of will bring me into that. It's Queen Peachy D saying purple microdot, right? So when I was a kid, I tried LSD. I was like 17 years old, right? And I tried that. And I also tried mushrooms. And these are two things that people say, and I can't say that they're similar in the experience, but it when you describe it, it sounds like like the experience that you would have under LSD or shrooms, being that those are hallucinogenics, and you kind of go to this other place. So I know what that feels like, and I won't know actually until I get with Drew and go down to the retreat and go through these ceremonies before I'll know if they're anything similar. So I'm just asking you, because I don't know if you've had like a mushroom experience or LSD to be able to tell us like right now if they're similar type of experiences.
Absolutely. Even the molecules are very close with DMT and psilocybin. And, I've had one of the most horrific, intense ceremonies on mushrooms. And it was after ayahuasca ceremony. So we did ayahuasca ceremony. It was at our house. And later, it was like the next day, everything, like the cups were still there and it still had like residue of ayahuasca. And I usually microdose with that, I boil everything and clean everything, and I save like every single drop that I can find of the ayahuasca. So there was just a little bit, and me and Ella split that, and there wasn't very much of it all. But we took like a little bit of mushrooms, maybe like a half a gram of mushrooms. We're going to go on a hike. Well, I think it's like 6 or 8 hours later, we never left the house. And long story short, we never left the house. Ella had an experience of her own that was exact opposite of mine. Mine was very hard and not very joyful at all. Her experience was absolute bliss for like hours on end, but it was from a very, very small amount of mushrooms, but it brung up like a much deeper experience than I had in ayahuasca ceremony. And that was a very transformative ceremony. I shape shifted, and like for everything that I seen possible, I turned into this this huge bird and took off flying. Like, and it was the amount was very, very small, but that was my very first, showing that it's not always about the amount of medicine or anything, that you're taking. I've sat with done a lot of sweat lodges, and
10 seconds.
I've had go ahead, man.
Okay, so we'll continue this actually on the other side of the break, because what I want to do is get ready to jump into this break. So guys, don't go anywhere as we go ahead and get ready to jump into the final stretch, hour 2.5 of the After Hours Radio Show. Awesome show so far, action-packed, power-packed show, and we'll be back with a special guest that'll be joining us. You know him very well. For this next part of the conversation, I think it's actually the perfect time. So once again, the After Hours Radio Show, I'm your host, Mr. Rob G. You guys don't go anywhere. We will be right back. All right. We are clear. And let me say thank you to W. Decker, saying, as someone who's dealt with PTSD, my best wishes and positive energy goes out to Drew and the work he is doing. Yes, this is true for sure. And then Simon the Likeable is asking, at Spaced Out Radio, can the fan party be at Drew's place, please? Yeah, you got to ask Drew. We're working out with Drew and Dave. If Drew says it's okay, we're running by Dave, because that sounds like the place to be. But seriously, it's something that I'm looking forward to doing. I'm like you said, you got to mentally be ready for something like this. And I want to get into the second half of this. Like I said, we're bringing in our third person here to join this conversation, who is the perfect person because he's dealt with this, but from a different angle. None other than, if he's ready. Is he ready? Is he ready? Check. Is he ready? All right, guys. You guys already know who this is, and I'm just going to surprise you real quick. It's none other than, if you can unmute, hit the unmute button there.
Dr. Phil.
As our guy. Remember him? Travis Travis, Drew, Travis.
What's up?
How's it going, everybody?
Brother?
All right, man. You're coming in at the perfect time. We've been jumping into ayahuasca and all the different DMT and all this stuff. I'm like I said, I'm getting used to this. And here's where we're gonna go. So we're not gonna talk about it yet, but when we come back from break, I want to get into the sweat lodges, because I know you both have experience with those, and it'd be great to hear how Drew's experience is versus Travis, because he's with the natives and how their ceremonies are. So this is gonna be awesome. You guys bet not go anywhere for this last 30 minutes. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
We're about to get in the lodge. Let's get in the lodge.
And then there may be Travis is, I don't know. He hasn't told me anything. Did you check your Facebook, Travis?
No.
The messenger? Are you able to check it right now?
Sure.
Okay, I want you to see this. And then just say yay or nay.
Hello? Okay, yeah. Yeah,
okay,
I'm back. Yeah.
Do you see what I just sent you on Messenger right now?
You just sent me something?
Yeah,
I just got coming now.
Okay. Can you check it right now while you're on?
Yeah.
Okay, check it real quick. The message I just sent you now, and just tell me yay or nay.
Capui. Okay. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay, great. So with that being said, I'll make this announcement right now before we come back from break then. So, it's funny how things happen in life, and how I'm a big believer on how stars align and how when one door closes, another door opens. And as you know, we had our guy Drew who stepped in because Travis had some things he needed to take care of, and so he took a step back. But just so happened that the stars align in a way where Travis is now back, but on Saturdays, so he will actually be filling in and taking the place for Jax. So Jax will be stepping away from our Saturday show. She has things that she has to do that kind of, she's already doing the Element 115 and sometimes on Dave's show. So she has to step away from Saturdays here. So Travis is now stepping back in as he is ready to go. So we'll have Travis on Saturdays, hour 3, and then we'll have Drew on Sundays, hour 3. And it's just crazy that this is what we're doing. And so I just wanted to say that welcome back, Travis.
Hoka.
It's all love, man, and we appreciate you, guy. And I think everybody will be happy with that. So here we go. We're getting ready to come back from radio. We got about 30 seconds here. Dude, the after hours is going to be crazy. We're really building this thing, and this is going to be one of those shows where you have to come, right? Where if you want to come, right? We want to make that this a destination for everyone out there. So that's what we're building towards. And here we go. We're getting ready to come back right now. All right, yes. After hours, number 2.5. We're on the back half of the show. About to bring it home right now. And like I said, we're welcoming back Travis Moose as he joins us for this hour 3 with Drew Banky, talking about these ayahuasca, DMTs, all these things. And we're getting into sweat lodges. That's the next thing we're talking about. But welcome back, Travis. He'll be joining us on Saturday, stepping in for Jax. And it's going to be an awesome thing going forward. So I'm just happy to keep this thing building and glad to have you guys with me here because I don't know anything about any of this and I haven't done this, but I'll be able to speak to this. That's the thing. I'm going to see Drew. And then once I have gone to see Drew, then I'll be able to have this conversation and be able to speak to these things. So right now I'm just a fly on the wall, but getting back into the conversation, and it's perfect, Travis, that you're here because you and Drew have both experienced, and it may be the same version or different versions of what they call sweat lodge. So I would like for actually Drew, for you to start with your experience with sweat lodge, kind of what goes into that ceremony. And then afterwards, then Travis, you kind of tell us how yours goes. And just, I want to see, how much these things align and if it's the same purpose of why this happened. So if you wouldn't mind starting out, Drew.
Yeah. So I got during the Sundance, we do a sweat lodge in the morning before the sun rises and afternoon after to wash off for the day. So we do a total adding to the Sundance for the 4 days without food and water. We're also Sundancing. We're also doing a sweat lodge in the morning and afternoon. So I've been in sweat lodges in that capacity. I've been in sweat lodges to where they're either before or after a Whippy ceremony. And I've also been in sweat lodges where people are coming off the hill from Humblecha, and we do a wash off sweat, helping with that, and just normal, monthly sweats or weekly sweats, either led by myself or others. But the typical sweat lodge that I'm used to is a typical Lakota sweat lodge where we do 4 rounds. 4 songs in each round, and it's opening the rounds 1 and 4, opening, closing songs, and we have a healing round as the second round, and the third round is normally like a water round or like a gratitude round, and then you have a closing round for the 4th round. So that's typically like the basic setup of sweat lodges that I'm familiar with. I've also participated in Tesma calls where other people, and that's normally like after a peyote ceremony, I've participated in Tezmacals, which is the Mexican version of the Spanish version. What they do in the tribes down south, it's very similar, but less times the songs are a lot different, more upbeat, a lot different instruments are brought in. Typical Lakota lodge, you only hear maybe a drum, maybe a rattle, but in Tezmacala you hear all types of different songs, and they're made a little different. Tezmacals are normally made of brick and mortar or concrete or in the ground. Typical Lakota sweat lodges are made traditionally with buffalo hide. We use old teepee skins on that are just old canvas, like an old teepee. That's what we use for our lodge here. But yeah, it's kind of, it changes a little bit. You deal with what you have to deal with, but yeah, a lot of wood's burned, and the ceremony starts basically when the date's set on the sweat lodge, and it continues until there's a feast. Normally after, I'm used to normally having a feast after the sweat lodge. A typical sweat lodge normally has some type of feast where everyone brings like a potluck and enjoy, sits around and talks about how hot it was or what they saw or whatever. But I've had definitely experiences, and what I started to prelude to it, and then I'll give it over before the break, was I was sitting with the Uwippi. I sat with the Uwippi man several times, but one time I was setting up the stones. So I was pulling out the stones, praying with them, and counting them out and building the fire for this Uwippi man. So I was kind of his helper in a way. And I asked him how many stones, and I'd done several with him, and normally it was like 28, 7 each round, 4 rounds of 7. And he goes, just one. He said, just pick out a good size one. Don't pick it out too small, but a decent size one. I have something to show everyone. There's like 20 people in the lodge, and that was the hottest lodge I've ever been in. And he showed me a very valuable lesson that it's not always about how much medicine you're ingesting or how many stones are in the sweat lodge or anything like that. The spiritual law can override laws that we think are unbreakable in this time frame. And he showed me that in no uncertain terms. That was a lodge where I almost didn't make it out of that one. Like, it was very high, and I've been in some really hot ones. I've been in ones where they had like over 100 stones in it for healings and things like that. And it wasn't nearly as hot as that one was with one stone. And it was shown that, spiritual law dictates over physical law.
That is awesome. That I may have missed this part. Is there, you said medication, so is there a medication that's taken during this particular type of sweat lodge you're speaking about?
That one, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, that's just
Just
getting
into a mindset.
You don't always have to take psychedelics. It's I've had more experiences not on psychedelics that would put a lot of people into a corner for a while, that that you just blow your mind. And
there's more meditation and more kind of zen, like getting your
that's a whole nother that's a whole episode to try to unpack that one. Who knows what it is. All I know is what I experienced, and the Uwippi experiences, I've had 3 of those, and each one of those has really profound things have happened that really make me question how the world works.
Okay. And now, Travis, if you wouldn't mind kind of opening up. Now, I know it may be a little different because it's like native ceremonies, and you may not be able to tell everything about, what happens. But if you can, share as much as you can about how it relates maybe to what he's talking about or how different it is.
Oh, it's awesome. I'm great to hear that. I'm not too familiar with too many Lakota traditional ceremonies. So hearing about water and water ceremony and stuff, that really intrigues me. Is this done on like the reserve or First Nations?
Well, we have ceremonies here in Crestone. I've been on the res doing ceremonies before. I've been on my Sundance grounds. It depends. The Uwhippie ceremonies, they were all done in Crestone, and is done by a well-known Uwhippie man. Oh man, long. His last name's long. Oh, it's late at night. Anyways, he was on a documentary and stuff that was out on Vice that come out, and he's also a peyote man, but he's also a Uwhippie man. But he studied with a lot of interesting people, and I've had a lot of profound experiences with him. He's not practicing anymore. He's took a step back and working on some personal things, but yeah, he practiced for over 20 years, and he went all over. He traveled to Germany and did Uwhippie ceremonies, and yeah, I've had Uwhippie ceremonies are, and they're also called tent shakers. You might know them as tent shaker ceremonies, but yeah, those are I've had the honor of being in a few of those. But anyone wants to look up more, like there's a book out there. It's called Black Elk Speak. He's and I've mentioned this before in past episodes, but people that may not have heard this conversation before, look up Uwhippie ceremony, Black Elk Speaks, and you can dive down. There's a whole book, and it goes into a lot more detail of how the Uwhippie ceremony works and accounts and stuff like that. But Black Elk is probably one of the most famous Uwhippie people out there.
Yeah. So Travis, like, how do your sweat lodges go? As far as that goes, are they similar? Like, what are the?
Oh, it's like theirs. It's like it's done during the day because it's precautionary tale not to do it at night because bad spirits or darker spirits entities can enter in. So it's done during the day, and like you mentioned, there's like offerings at the end that is offered to the spirit realm, and for the messages and the things that happen in there, the healings, and profound things, especially like when in terms of entities and spirits that enter into the lodges and that come to make themselves present in there, and whether it's like the eagle, great eagle, Gillen, or Boscoawi mustos, right? Big buffaloes come blowing the air in there and stuff, or you get some of the trickster spirits and things that come and come make themselves known through bells and chimes, and there's no bells or chimes in there.
Wow.
And there's like I said, Star Nations when I was in there have appeared. My family's been I should say into native spirituality since our my great grandfather Headman Mustis, right? So it's been passed down through the generations, and like I said, my aunties and uncles were all practicing and like I should say medicine people, and I should say they were all like pipe holders and to that degree, and all earned and properly earned through protocol and through rites of passage to hold such ceremonies, because when you play with that, or well, not play, but if you play around with the real kind of stuff and you're not meant to, like bad things can happen. And I've told that story about where great Headman Mustis's pipe was stolen out of a grave, and these guys tried to go and have a ceremony with it, and that guy just dropped dead in that sweat lodge because he wasn't meant to. It wasn't meant for him. And so the spirit world just took his soul like that, and he dropped dead right in that ceremony. And I don't know, we still never got that pipe back, and don't know where it is. They probably destroyed it or got rid of it, or but yeah, it was there's a lot of things, right, that go into these ceremonies, especially when it comes to the realities of it and what it means to be like to hold that kind of I should say honor to do those ceremonies or to host them, or like, in what honor it is to be a Scopios and really do that. Yeah, like I was like 4 years old and I was bringing in rocks for the ceremony and stuff like that, just like as you mentioned before. And I've partaked in other ceremonies that were hosted by me, and like I've been in there, and yeah, like it's a very profound thing, and like I said, it's a deep connection, and yeah, like so I'm happy to hear that it's out there, or you guys are doing, and and if it's being hosted in the right way and stuff. But like I said, it is what it is, right? I'm just just being honest with folks out there.
Yeah. No, I Sundance under Dennis Banks. So Dennis Banks was the person that sanctioned our Sundance, and the last my first year dancing was the last year that he was able to make it there. He passed before the second one. This is my second year dancing, but yeah, he sung at the drum, so I got to dance in the arbor to Dennis Banks singing the AIM song, and being a white guy with a little bit of blood quantum, it was a great honor and everything, and I got a lot of different things happened throughout my Sundances, but that was very honorable. But that was probably one of them. Another time, like a little fawn deer ran through the arbor in the middle of the day, ran out of the woods and ran through the arbor. That was, just little things like that. Even it sounds, just me saying it, maybe not that special to someone, but being there in that moment, and like looking, man, I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it, and just having like something like that happen, just really helps push you through that moment. And I think that's the biggest gift of everything that I've been through is being able to see those moments and appreciate them in that way. So
Oh yeah, definitely. Like it is like I said, it is an honor to go back into that ceremony. What it is like that reconnection into that into the world, like into the universe, and making that spiritual relationship with your being and the universe once again, because it's like you're re-entering, and like essentially what the sweat lodge is a symbolism for you're entering back into the womb of Mother Earth to be cleansed and reborn back into the world again with the energy restored, right? Like you're with your alignment into the right path, and like, because it is a lot of it is a cleanse, right? Like you're getting like spiritually cleansed, and it also helps with that like I should say with the body, in a sense. Like it's very beneficial for the health anyway in that regards, and then also too it's our connection with our spirit world, and it's like I said, it's part of our, like I said, it's a part of our healing ceremonies and naming ceremonies and different kind of things. Like I said, the beings like that come through that connect with us, and that are from that higher dimensional frequency that do come through. Like I did mention before that we had because I even partaked in a military sweat lodge before as well, believe it or not. And there was like 30 of us, whole platoon, like in the sweat lodge together, all praying together. And yeah, in that one, Bigfoot actually came into that one and gave a few people his blessing of that spiritual name in their like, so they were like, they had the name Bigfoot and stuff, and but yeah, no, there's like a few other there's a few wild things out there like that. And last one I was in, the Star Nation came through, and they were flying around like it was like an orb, like a light orb that was just illuminating around, and then it kind of situated itself beside me. But I was just praying, but because when things like that happen, it kind of takes you back, you kind of like, you're like, oh, like, you really, like you you re-examine the whole universe again, and meanwhile, buddy across from me who's singing and he's holding on to the rattle, looking at me, and he said he's seen the silhouette of an oval head and the pink skin and the blue eyes and but it was he said it was there. It was bringing healing. Well, I should say the guy hosting the Sweat Lodge said it was there bringing the healing for us and making that connection with us down here on this plane. And like I said, this was like a couple of years ago, and it was a pretty profound moment because at that same moment outside there was another dude who was like I should say the guy's literally the dude's son, and he was doing the rocks and he was taking care of the lodge. And he said he looked up and it was like this cloud moved over right overhead of the Sweat Lodge and just started distorting, like energy just started coming down from this cloud and distorting down into the Sweat Lodge during our round there. And so that was one of the solid moments. I could say that it was like a straight on interaction from the Star Nation, and that on that level of that metaphysical level, and just coming down through the energy and being part of that healing ceremony.
That's awesome. Travis, I want to ask you real quick before we get away. You said a military Sweat Lodge. What is that exactly?
Yeah. So this one was huge. It was a huge one. And because like I said, I did my BMQ through a military program back in 2009, and so like when I was before, part of that program was of the warrior element of it, right? So there was a few medicine men from down south from the Blood Nation that were doing the Sweat Lodge, and this is like on the border of Alberta, and there's a whole bunch of us. Not everyone took part, like not everybody partook in the Sweat Lodge ceremony. Like there were some people who didn't, but most of us, the warriors did, right? Went in for it, and that one was it was a 4-rounder too. But like we did I think it was close to 98 rocks or more, a little bit more. But like I said, there was like about a little bit more than 32 of us all seated together in that giant lodge. Like it was pretty huge, like all singing and praying, and like I said, it was a real wild experience, that one.
Wow. Okay. So we got about a minute left here before we wrap up this show. Man, it was awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely glad that we got to hear the both experiences, because and you guys are able to talk the language to each other, so you both know the nuances and differences. Like I said, I'm on the outside looking in. I haven't experienced any of this, but it is awesome to be able to pick your brains, and it shows why you guys are assets to what it is we're doing here, because people want to know, and I want to know, right? So let's definitely keep this thing going. Travis back on Saturdays, awesome guy, love it. Drew on Sundays. It's a powerhouse situation here going on at the Spaced Out Radio After Hours radio show. It only gets better. It keeps getting better. You see, we keep raising the bar now. You got to give us that, right? We are raising the bar here constantly and consistently here, and we're just trying to bring you the best show possible. And I'm glad. I hope you guys enjoyed our guest tonight, David Altman, hours 1 and 2.
David freaking Altman
for coming in. And thank you, Drew and Travis, once again, as we get ready to wrap this thing up. It's been a pleasure, right? Definitely want to thank our super chatters. Let me do that real quick. W. Decker. Actually, let me start here. Welcome to the show. Thank you. W. Decker, we appreciate you. Cosmic Joe, thank you. Maggie M10, thank you. W. Decker, again, thank you. We do appreciate you guys doing this here as we go ahead and rock out with our guy, Bumblefoot. Talk about never say never, right? Because the phenomena is a real thing, and we just got to deal with this thing. So do appreciate everybody coming in, sharing your time with us tonight, and I hope you come back. Dave Scott, Monday through Friday, right here on Spaced Out Radio, 9 p.m. until midnight Pacific. Jackson Lee, Friday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., right before Dave. And then right back here with us on the After Hours Radio Show, Saturdays and Sundays, 8 p.m. Pacific until 11 p.m. Come and rock out with us as we do what we do best. And what is that, you ask? We own the night, guys. Definitely thank you for coming on in. You guys have a great rest of your night. Enjoy. Have a great week. Positive energies out there. That's what we got to do. And let's let Bumblefoot take us up out of here. Whoa, awesome show, guys. Thank you so much for making this a awesome show tonight. And let me see, is there anybody in the chat saying anything? Any last words here before we get up out of here? I know I promised trivia. We're not going to do it tonight, unfortunately, because I didn't have it all set up. But what we're going to do going forward, because I know there's some out there that like to do that. So what we're going to start doing is, like, after we end the show like we just did, then we'll do kind of like an overtime thing where we stick around for like 20 additional minutes and go ahead and do the trivia. So that way we can do it, but it doesn't have to be included within the show itself, right? So best of both worlds, because I want to do what you guys want to do, and I also want to make sure we put on the best show possible. So once again, thank you so much for everybody coming on in. We're going to go ahead and get up out of here with our theme song. And it's, I'm not going to say what it is. You guys know what it is. Here it goes. As we get up out of here, you guys take care.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.